The following Toku Podcastu contains spoilers from both past and present tokusatsu, anime, manga, movies and other related media. If you do not wish to be spoiled, we suggest turning off the podcast now. Otherwise, please enjoy the show.
Hello everybody, welcome to the Toku Podcast, the best show about tokusatsu you've probably never heard of. And just play the Metal Gear Rising soundtrack over this, and it fits perfectly for pretty much every episode. That's Jay.
You remember that time Turok killed all those dinosaurs? Because that's every issue of Turok. I started reading. I finished the first game again, and God, that game has not aged very well. And so I was like, oh yeah, that's right. I should probably finally read the Turok comic. And good fucking lord, it really is just him killing dinosaurs every issue.
Game.
And over there, wanted in 7 states for throwing babies off of buildings into a vat of acid. Phil.
You remember that time Snoop Dogg was in a horror movie?
Why are
Which
you stealing
one?
Jay's stick?
Bones.
My stick. Who took my stick?
Phil's taking your shit, man. He's taking your
Just
gimmick.
this one time.
I thought you were.
taking your
I
gimmick.
thought you were talking about what was that one where he was like a pimp who died and
Bones.
got reincarnated as like a.
Bones,
Okay, that's the one you
I'm
were talking about.
about.
That movie's really weird.
It
isn't
is. It is. I'd love.
And that's Chad.
Yeah, I know. I actually just got this nice ominous looking box with pretty cool shades. So don't mind. I'm gonna try that out, and I'll be right back.
Don't
Alright, see you
open
later,
it.
Chad.
Don't open it.
If they're not Armani, don't even.
Well, I mean,
bother.
Chains are
it's still the box of
They're,
mystery. It's a mystery box, so I mean, I kind of had to do it, you know.
They're Varmon.
Chad, let me ask you:
They're-
is it a puzzle
It's
box?
like how I used to say, if they're not Gucci, they're Bucci.
Yeah.
All right, so if you can't tell by the obvious, not obvious jokes that we're telling today, we're talking about Garo Versus Road, and for the first time, it's actually more than just Jay and I talking about it.
I know, right? It's a Garo episode with more than just us.
What?
That's surprising.
Well, I've been in Garo episodes before. I've only been in.
You were in like one of the movies.
I was in 2 of the movies. The Red Requiem and what's the one before it?
Something about
Demon Beast of the Midnight Sun. I
Demon
believe
Beast
it
of the
was.
Midnight
Oh,
Sun.
isn't that the one I kept getting? Isn't that the one I kept fucking
Yes.
up, calling
Yes.
it like Midnight Beast Dick Sun or something like that?
Yes, we couldn't get the name straight.
The
'cause it had,
dicking
like,
of the Midnight Sun.
And I
because
never
it has like 4 different names for whatever
and I
reason.
never finished the one who shines in the dark.
Oh, that's good. You didn't really miss a whole lot.
You did not.
That being said, poor Chad here, starting with Versus Road as his first Garo show.
Oh,
Yep,
no.
this is
That's right. This is your first
this is
one.
my literal first Garo show. I'm kind of surprised, but you know what? This is probably open up a new can of worms in terms of figure arts because hey, the Shinkocho line exists and they kind of look good.
This would be
Honestly,
like...
is there a fucking figure for the VR suit?
There
want
is
that.
there is not.
No, there is not.
Because that would sell like fuck. That's
I'm
so
there,
nice.
there was a shocking low amount of Garo merch, to be entirely honest.
And they're all
In general,
really
yeah.
expensive.
Yeah.
That is
I mean, yeah, like all of
Phil.
it, it's like really fancy, kind of like mature stuff. Yeah, like recreations of Zaruba and the other Mono
Yeah.
rings, and then you got like clothing replicas and stuff. And I think they made a replica of like the lighter Koga has, but in terms of like our genre of merch, there's very limited.
like I
I've
think
seen
in terms of like
sorry.
I think like in terms of figures from like just off the cuff, I know that Figure Arts did create some before going to Shinkocho. And then similarly, kind of like I think Ultra Acts, or like basically before SH Figure Arts Ultraman was SH Figure Arts Ultraman. Basically there was something called the Makai Knights line or something like that. To be honest, I don't really dabble in Garo, but this is, I guess, me kind of exploring that. Here and there. So there's something like that, though.
So
I mean, I saw figure arts, like a figure art of Zero from Image Anime, but that was like in an MMPR Toys video from like over 10 years ago. So and they're all ridiculously expensive, like $200.
okay. So we are talking about the last Garo show to be made because Garo is made in decade intervals. Apparently, we are talking about the last Garo show to be made, which is Versus Road. And what the fuck, Jay?
Well, the base level synopsis I can give of Garo VR is, you remember Blade Runner? You guys remember Blade Runner. Fucking, what am I talking about?
No,
you remember Battle Royale? I fucking BR. Idiot. You fucking moron.
Blade Runner Battle Royale?
What am I talking about? Jesus Christ. Oh,
you're talking about Blade Runner Battle Royale.
Boy, I sure hope somebody got fired for that blunder. No. You guys remember Battle Royale? Because this show is just Battle Royale. With a Garo coat of paint on it, pretty much. So a bunch of random nerds and a couple of attractive people who are pretending to be nerds randomly get a random pair of glasses just teleported into their house somehow, which for no discernible reason sends them to a quote-unquote virtual world where they were all competing to the death to gain the title of Garo, which is definitely not an evil scheme by an evil wizard trying to generate Inga to make his own evil Garo suit, which we all figured out from the first fucking episode. It's definitely not an evil horror scheme, guys. Trust me.
What? No.
Really? I actually didn't know that.
Well, Chad's probably
he
not
seemed
being
like
ironic.
such a...
Yeah.
Look. The guy seems so reasonable.
Yeah.
I know, right?
He just wanted us to kill each other.
Yeah.
I mean, guys, like, honestly, we had, like, Michi mixed with Mamoru, like, Amazons, and, like, we had whiny Shinken Red.
Genderqueer Michi.
We had... the main character was Malcolm Frank.
He kind of was.
He looked like Malcolm fucking
I
Frank.
felt like he kind of
had,
looks like Shinken Red, except he was a little more whiny.
A little
and
bit.
he actually had a fucking meal after he got
It's
upset.
true.
Yeah.
I thought that was Shinken Blue.
No. I don't think so.
No, it was
Anyways,
definitely Shinken.
so let's start with him, shall we? Let's start with Malcolm Frank because I'm gonna keep calling him that. Let's start with Malcolm Frank, our main character, Kuon. Come on, fucking weird ass name.
Yeah, Kuon, more like, come on, stop fucking whining all the goddamn time.
Yeah.
He's kind of like your standard stock Toku hero, but a little more
I wouldn't
whiny.
even say that. He's what I'd like to call the generic battle royale protagonist.
Pretty much.
Because we've seen this type of protagonist so many times. We've seen it in Gaim, we've seen it in Ryukyu, we've seen it here. Fuck, we saw it in Shibuya 15.
Shibuya 15, Hunger Games. Hell, the original Battle Royale's male protagonist was kind of flat and boring, to be entirely honest.
Yeah, he is guy who does not want to fight. Except he basically does not have his balls moment. Like, he doesn't get his balls until, like, the last 2 episodes.
Pretty much.
Yeah. He never has that moment like Shinji does, where early on he kind of finally gives in to the world of the game, but he still tries to steer it in his own way. Or you have Koda, who, fully kind of acclimates himself to the Helheim bullshit. Or, I mean, fuck, let's just pull a random one out of my head. I mean, hell, even like in Battle Royale, where the kids all kind of finally give in to the twisted nature of the game, but he just kind of floats on, more or less, and even after his bestest friend in the whole world dies because of the game, he still takes a couple of episodes to finally be like, okay, I'm making a stand against the game, and by the point he does, the game is basically already over, so congratulations, Kuon.
Right?
You really made a stand there when it was already too late.
See, it's really weird how much, like, he does literally nothing the entire fucking show. Yet I can't really bring myself to hate him. He's just bland. It's like, yeah, come on. Like, the only thing that really kept me interested in him is that, and I make the joke earlier, but, like, was that he did kind of look like Malcolm Frank, and just trying to hear that, like, fucking slurpy nerd voice that Malcolm Frank had as this character made me fucking laugh the whole time.
Early on, they kind of have him, like, be like, he's like a weird bodyguard to his friend Hoshia, and they kind of set this thing up early on where he's just like, well, okay, well, if you keep getting into these things, I'm just not going to help you anymore. Like, he's kind of like, they kind of set up that he's like manipulating his friend, or he's kind of like a dick, or he rides on that attention, but never really goes anywhere, and that more or less just seems to be interpreting early material more than anything. And
not only that, but, like, also they kind of give him, they lose it obviously, but they give him like a short fuse for the first couple episodes.
Yeah, I noticed that too. He gets really like pissed off really quick for no good reason, and then after the second game, he just kind of loses it. And like not even like after, he like kind of halfway through the second game, he just loses it.
Yeah, like he loses literally all of his fighting ability for no reason, and it's like you kind of fucked up there, guys. You had a guy who I think could have been interesting from the beginning, and just kind of said, let's just go for the generic protagonist.
Yeah,
because like I think initially, I think this basically goes mainly because he just kind of figures it's obviously just a game, right? And then eventually it's like, oh yeah, JK, this actually wasn't a game, but it's actually battle royale. So I mean,
it's real.
It's actually real.
You die in the game, you die in real life. Trademark.
I love that they actually said that.
I know.
Oh, so it's SAO. Heyo.
But it's true though, because like I wish that he had more to him, because they kind of teased you, man. They teased you with like, oh, look how much this guy has. He's got a short fuse. Like Jay said, he's almost manipulative to his friend. Oh, what's this gonna be? And then he just dies, and it's like, okay, bye, I guess.
I mean,
see you later.
I mean, like, basically, I don't know. Like the thing I'm noticing within like the pattern of these shows is like, oh yeah, let's just see what happens if we throw a shonen protagonist into basically real life. And it's like, oh yeah, no, this ain't no fucking game, kid. So it's like, it just kind of feels weird in this case. Like, Gaim...
Yeah.
Okay, for like Gaim, it's a little less weird. But then again, it's just like, I don't know how I feel about that trope, though. Like, especially used here.
See, I would I would bring it up to the fact that Gaim is still technically a shonen show.
Yeah.
Garo was made more, and Jay and I know this specifically, it's more for the adults. So to see a character that's so obviously made for shonen type of stuff to be put into this, he clashes with literally everything else.
Yeah.
Like hard. Like it's shit, dude. Like the way that he clashes with every other character comes off as like, these guys came from a completely different show.
Oh, yeah, they did.
This guy came from Kamen Rider.
Yeah, I mean, I think even to use Rider as an example, it'd be like if you took Shinji and put him into Gaim instead.
Damn.
His kind of doofy, optimistic persona doesn't necessarily work with the later half of Gaim, kind of like how... Because Coda more or less adapts to how Gaim kind of turns out near the end, but... Ryuki goes in a different direction, so
yeah,
Shinji's character is able to adapt to that. But if you were to kind of swap him around and put him to a more like not necessarily realistic, like a grimmer scenario, I don't think his character would work as well. And I think that's a good way to compare them here. Is Kuon feels like he belongs in a less violent show, and even if it's still like the battle royale kind of thing, because they've done that. Unfortunately, they've done the family-friendly battle royale shit for some reason. It'd be like if they took a character from that and put them into, like, again, a violent, gritty horror show.
Precure battle royale?
Yeah. Basically.
Honestly, if that show exists, we might actually watch that. That sounds hilarious. But yeah, like, it's weird. And again, I think... Overall, I don't think I hate him. I just think there could have been more done with him. Because, again, everybody else is way more interesting. Everybody else. Even his fucking nerdy, sissy frou-frou friend over there. Way more interesting than he is. Let's talk about him, because he's the first one who fucking dies, surprisingly. Yeah. I didn't think he was going to die first. I thought the guy in the white jacket was going to die first.
Honestly, yeah. I was a little surprised that Hoshiai died again, halfway into the show, but as early as he did. He's honestly pretty interesting because he is kind of the primary demographic both of this show and of the game. He is a pathetic nerd who gets beat up by dudes because he's good at video games. Said video game being Garo for the PS2, which is
for some reason fuck?
A fucking arcade cabinet and a dingy arcade in the middle of I don't know,
like
fucking Shinjuku
Garo for Evo.
So,
It's not even a 2-player game. I don't know what the hell.
bruh, when are we gonna get fucking Daigo at fucking Garo Evo? Let's go.
Who would Daigo main? Who would?
He would be a dick, and he would main Zero or something.
He'd probably be the Dark Knight. Yeah,
he'd be an asshole like that.
he would be.
But yeah.
So wait, that also that begs a question with this world. What the hell is Garo then? Like friggin' there's a game obviously. Is the game actually Garo? Because like I noticed that there was a game, and then now there's just
I'm going to assume that was just them being cheap, because they do establish that, you know, obviously Garo and the horrors are real.
Yeah.
But, then it gets a little awkward. So maybe it's just some guy.
It's kind of like what was that one show that did this? It's like Garo exists as a legend, but nobody really realized that it was actually a real thing.
So
you know
is
what I
this
mean?
just operating off of like Revice logic then? And the Vice stamps, and just like, oh yeah, no, the common rares did exist, but we also have toys of them, and yeah.
Sure, I guess.
I don't know anymore.
That's probably...
That's the best way I can explain it, because then like you have fucking you have the fucking YouTuber dude fucking finding out about horrors from like cave paintings, but we'll get to that.
But yeah, I liked Hoshiai. He was a good actor for what he was given. I mean, it's hard to do the timid nerd guy role well without coming off like a bitch, because you're inherently acting like one, so it's difficult to sell that. But he made it work, and again, I think his character works the best with the kind of the theme that the show's going for, is the power fantasy, the wish fulfillment for the risking your life thing. And even when he starts to realize, yeah, this game is evil, yeah, this is bad, we shouldn't be doing this, but even then he's still tempted to keep coming back to it and keep getting involved. And you know, ultimately he pays for that hubris. But I think that's a good way to sell that, is
yeah, exactly.
He's the sacrificial lamb, I guess, is the good way to say it. He's the
more or less the catalyst, I guess.
Typical. I guess he's the typical example of what this is here for. And because we know him the most, it matters the most when eventually everything falls down around him and he's killed, he's sacrificed.
Honestly, dude, his death scene was really fucking well done. Like, surprisingly so. Usually this type of stuff is just like, oh yeah, you killed the best friend, blah, blah, blah. But this, I was like, oh man, this actually like makes me feel for him for some reason. Like, I actually feel bad for this guy.
I think it's just because like the very pathetic and like almost mournful begging for his death because he doesn't want to become a monster, and Kuon just standing there like a dead fish, like not doing anything. And I think that really sells it well, as his increasing desperation over it too really helps.
That he fucking blows himself up, which was like, holy shit.
Then we go all your head explode, and you know, it just ends there.
Like legit, sense. Dude. I thought it was actually a really well done scene, because I'm like, again, I guess it is just like you said, because he's so pathetic and like asking for his death, that it's just like, I feel bad for you, dude. Why do I feel bad for you? Would you
say this death was mind blowing?
Fuck you.
Slide whistle noise, because I don't own a slide whistle.
Can I just say real quick though? It is funny as fuck how some of these people, like one guy in particular, he fell on his fucking button. He literally fell on it.
Yeah, that was
you retard.
That seems like a design flaw.
Yeah.
But you know what?
It's no more a design flaw than the reverse gun.
I mean, to be entirely honest, the whole bomb collar in that segment didn't really make any sense, because, like, okay, we're in a tiny hallway, and if we go too far out, the horrors are going to jump and murder us. Also, we have bomb collars. Like, the bomb collar just feels excessive, to be entirely honest.
It's just making
It'd
sure.
be like if lava was flowing into the room, too. It's like, I mean, what's the point?
I thought that was more like an incentive to keep them in there. Then again, it's redundant because the horrors are keeping them in there. Like, if they go out...
Exactly.
Yeah, but there's, like... You can play with the force fields, and you know, you could have them like change shape too, or you know, so you can't just stand there in the corner and not do anything to wait out the clock, or other ways to do it. It's just you have a collar on the back with a button on the back of your neck, and if you press it, you explode, and you can't.
You might as well like
I'm just trying to think like the whole bomb collar concept. You think they actually really cared to begin with? Like, you think that was just like giving like a little fun thing to spice up and just saying like, oh yeah, well if you fall, that's kind of on you, buddy. So it's like,
let's be fair though.
That as more of a like, I feel like that they added that as more of a way to give Hoshiai an out because I feel like they were in a corner and they were saying like, okay, we want Hoshiai to die at this point, but Kuon, we've written as he's not going to do it because he doesn't want to kill his friend, even though he knows that it's trying to get him out of his misery. So instead of him just doing this brutal death scene, he has just an out where he takes it out on himself, and it's the bomb collar.
I think the problem is that, again, the bomb collar feels excessive, and I think you're right in that they kind of ended up in a corner, but more in the sense of the corner of, oh, we didn't realize how many people we still had left alive, so we need a contrived excuse to pare down the amount of people left for the next 2 games. Yeah. But even then, like, killing off Hoshiai there feels weird because you still have half the show left to go, and then Kuon's big emotional moment is with Takane at the end of the show too, and then you have the game with the 8 of them where you just have 2 complete randos there instead of anybody important. Like, that's another one too, is that like we only have 7 main characters, but there's a big game where there's 8 people, and then we just fill in the spot with 2 completely unnecessary characters.
Three characters that are in the opening die before even getting to the end.
Yeah, mm-hmm. Like another thing too is that like you have Nagumo's like sidekicks. You have his manager, who is, before anybody complains and before Phil says it, he was Tsurugi in Q Ranger, which is weird because the show I think was still on when this came out.
Oh, he was?
I don't remember. Yeah, you did.
Well, you know what? He's
Wait
working.
A sec.
I mean, he's still working.
I didn't know that. I honestly didn't know that.
Hold on a moment.
You didn't notice? Really?
No, I didn't.
I might be wrong, or I probably am wrong. But though, can someone fact check this? Like the other jobber that was like part of Nagumo's crew, right? Well,
yeah.
Was that Kirame Red? That guy looks a lot like Kirame Red for some reason.
I don't think so, but I know what you mean.
But let me take a look, see if I can't.
Dude,
figure this
legit,
out
so many people in this show. I said, "Is that who?"
Like
I think it is?
Nashiko is actually in this show. Is like one of the, like the announcer girl.
Yeah,
she was a.
Yeah, the hologram announcer was Yodona.
Yodona.
Yeah,
that was Yodona.
Or like you know the dad that fucking Akibablue killed. I thought that was Yellow Lion. I was like, is that Yellow Lion? No, it's not him, but he looks like him.
AJ. Yeah. That is Yellow Lion.
Oh, really? Fuck off, it is?
Yes, it is.
Really?
Oh my god.
Yes, that's actually Yellow Lion.
Dude, I didn't want to think that because I was like, I don't think it is. That seems so obvious that it's Yellow Lion. It's like, oh, I guess it is Yellow Lion.
It's.
Are we talking about?
What is with him being a dad that gets fucking murdered?
Oh my god, that's right. Oh my god, I knew it!
He constantly just becomes a father and then dies.
Oh man, it's really disappointing for his track record there, yeah.
I mean, hey, he's working.
Yeah,
he's working.
I did not know that the AI was Yodona's actually. Then again, she doesn't really do anything in the show, so who cares?
No,
yeah,
but
she's kind of just there, really.
See, the most surprising one was Akibablue as fucking ready hair. I was just like, what? I didn't even know you were still alive.
She was the most surprising because it's like all she does is like put on a wig and put on a little mascara around her eyes, and oh, bam! Suddenly she looks like a different person. You know?
She does, dude.
It's
I'm
really
just
Akibablue
like literally, I was like, yeah.
Oh my god!
What the hell?
It was her, right?
Yeah.
It's like one of those things where it's like just something a little bit different about, like fucking Ryoma in Yamitera, like the hair. He just changed his hair up a little bit, and I literally didn't recognize him for a couple seconds.
Yeah,
it's always the small details that fuck you up, man. Hey, you know what? Maybe that is why Clark Kent could never be like recognized as
I know, right?
Superman.
Like,
it's genius. Is it weird though? Just real quick on Hoshiai, is it weird that for like a millisecond I thought he was played by the guy who played Katsuragi in Build?
I
was like, wait a
I thought
minute.
that-
He does.
No,
A little
he
bit
doesn't.
because he doesn't sound anything like him.
No, he
I thought it was
doesn't.
looks
Mamoru
like
for
him.
a second from like Amazons.
They
No,
all,
he's way
again,
too
they all,
ugly to be Mamoru.
they all kind of have that demeanor of them and that physique too of the scrawny, pasty nerd. So it's kind of
Scrawny bitch.
Like
Yeah.
no. Like here's the thing. I always thought he looked initially like a mix between Michi from Gaim and also Mamoru from Amazons, and it kept on bothering me the whole time because I couldn't not see that.
See, Michi was more the fucking sissy boy, but we'll talk about him right now. But see, the last thing I'll say on Hoshiai is, I honestly did not expect him to die. Again, we say early, but remember, this is kind of like halfway through the show.
Yeah.
I did not expect him to die as early as he did. I thought he was going to make it. Like, at least third or fourth.
Everybody, I remember this show. I remember a lot of the early discussion of the show. Everybody kind of knew he was going to die because it's a battle royale show, and the protagonist friend is always one of the ones who dies at the emotional peak. But him dying like halfway through the game was kind of a surprise because the general expectation was that he was gonna die like right at the end. Like he was gonna be
he's going to be like that last push.
He was gonna be the final four, and then he ends up dying, and then it's a big climactic duel with Kuon and whoever the hell killed him. But no, it's
I would have expected like Amo. He kills him, and he's just like Amo.
yeah.
Like the big old
I
revengey thing.
Yeah. But no, I think that was a good subversion there, although thematically I wish they waited until the big final 8 battle to have him die. I think it would have worked a little bit better there. Because then you have you have the 2 complete randos there whose deaths just kind of eat up screen time, and then you have the whole thing with the magic sword and all that, and that kind of drags out for a little while. So
Oh my god.
I mean, like if anything, in terms of like storytelling, you could have had him be killed by like what's his face, Len, or like the Hyuga, or like the murderer.
yeah, the not Ouja guy. Yeah, like that's what I was expecting, is that guy was going to kill him at one point and like taunt over it, and that was going to be kind of like the push that finally gets Kuon to be like, all right, I'm done trying to hide from the game. I'm in this for reals.
I'm fucking pissed.
But
Yeah.
but then again, the murderer guy doesn't really have much of a character outside of I want to kill everybody.
Exactly why he should have
Yeah.
killed Hoshiai.
Yeah.
Because then he would have had something.
we'll get more into the murder guy, but it's like I told Jay, he's basically just their Ouja.
Yeah.
He's just there to push people to want to fucking fight.
He's the
So that's the point.
I was gonna say the white-haired guy from Battle Royale, but that's still technically Ouja now, isn't it?
Hey, you know what? It works.
It works.
Ouja works. But before we get into him, let's talk about the guy that immediately just by the sheer look of his hair, I knew was going to be the rival. And that's Amo.
I mean, what?
You just look at him,
I mean,
dude.
The dude fucking looks like he came out of. The dude looks like he came out of another Garo show and just kind of walked into this one.
He literally looks like the dude from Battle Royale.
Kinda does.
My favorite theory that people had early on was that either one, they were gonna pull a twist and Amo was gonna win, or that Amo was just a Makai Knight the entire time to begin with, and he infiltrated the game to shut it down. Which, of course, were entirely ridiculous, but I mean, look at him. Obviously, he's a Makai Knight of some kind. Have you fucking seen what this guy can do?
That would actually have been pretty surprising and quite a twist, because they don't actually talk about other Makai Knights in the entire or Makai Knight titles in the entire series. They don't talk about who would be the Zero armor. They don't talk about the Ginga
because
armor.
technically there's only one Makai Knight in this universe.
And that's
Garo.
true.
Yes.
Technically Garo is the only one in this timeline, in this universe. Garo's the only one. So there aren't Makai Knights. There's just Makai Knights.
They kind of imply that there are other knights, but they're not on the same, they don't have armors like Garo, or they're not as powerful as Garo, which is
so
always
they're more like people who just have swords, they
there's
just fight
Makai
Kobe
Knights,
do.
and then there's being Garo is kind of the implication, because there's during the big flashback tournament where they this combatant was a descendant of the previous Garo or whatever the hell, and that's why he's so pissy that he's in this, he doesn't just immediately get it or whatever, but
He just Koga.
yeah.
But yeah, I liked Amo the most, only because, and it's weird because like he doesn't really have a huge character arc. I just like him. Something about him is just really magnetic, and it's weird because like usually the rival character is the one they try to make you not like the most, but it's like I liked him. It was great. There was something about him I just kind of got drawn to. I think it's also because for like half a second I thought he was Dan from X-Aid. For like half a second I was like, wait a second, no way, not again.
I think a lot of it has to do with, well, for starters, he has a personality, where Kuon doesn't.
True.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of it
he has
is
a
just,
demeanor.
yes, I think it's his demeanor. He's got a very dour, serious demeanor where you can tell that he's the monster who's given up. Basically, he used to be like a big shot, and then now he's just kind of gone off to the side and like not necessarily given up, but he's done with that all, and now he's being
accepted.
He's just kind of It's like in the early parts of Yakuza 1 where Kiryu gets out of jail and he's like, okay, I'm done with the Yakuza shit. I'm going straight for all of like 10 minutes. And that's kind of how he is in this show. He was the biggest, baddest motherfucker around, and something happened to have him change his mind, and now he's just kind of doing his own thing now, and he's slowly getting drawn back into this world that he tried to abandon. And I think that's what makes his character work too, is that unlike Kuon, who his whole story arc is him trying to accept the reality of the game. Amo he's already been through this shit, so this is just him power leveling his way through the same shit he's already had to deal with to get back to his nice, peaceful, quiet life.
I mean, even he said himself, like, he just likes the idea that in Versus Road, he doesn't have to hold back against anybody. He can just go wild, and he likes that. And it's kind of interesting, too, because he's directly... I don't remember the friend's name for the life of me. I just kept calling him the dude who voiced Vice.
I think his name was...
Kanata. There you go.
Yeah.
And now I remember. He just looks like the guy who voices Vice. I didn't recognize him without the blackface. But
to be honest, it's either he looks like Vice's voice actor, or he looks like friggin' Yakuza Beast.
Oh my god, you're right.
He looks.
I can totally see what you're saying now.
I'm expecting him to pull out a bottle of mayonnaise after beating the crap out of someone. Could not unsee that.
He's dressed up like a fucking bottle of mayonnaise.
You know what? That's true. You're not
wrong. I liked Amo's direct comparison with him because, Kanata, he's like, and we can talk a little bit of Kanata too because he just fucking dies. Kanata compared to him.
Anyway? What did he do anyways?
Dude was a.
They allude to him being like a gangster or
like a former,
like a street punk. Yeah. Like again, I used Kiryu as an example. He was like a criminal, but then he went straight, basically, I guess. Yeah. They never really go too into it.
Well, like I was saying, I like the comparison between him and Kanata, who's just like, Kanata doesn't give a shit. He's as strong as Amo, but he doesn't hold back. Amo's just like, I got my little doggy, I got my bar, that's all I need.
He's the rival's rival.
Pretty much.
Honestly, that was really interesting that they gave him that in
they
this
gave
type
him
of show.
the rival,
I was like, what the fuck? But I liked it. I liked their dynamic, and again, Kanata kind of died like a fucking bitch. I fucking hate what they did with him, but
if it didn't drag on as long as it did, I think his death would have been pretty good, because I like him kind of nutting up and taking the super magic demon sword to kill the one dude, and then ultimately falling into it himself. But then it just it keeps dragging out, and then Kuon's just there whining, and then Kuon ended up using the sword to kill him, right? I don't remember.
Yeah.
No, he ended up using the sword to kill the serial killer.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Yeah.
And then
honestly, that's also a big thing too. That was such a fucking waste of Ouja. I know he has a name in the show, assholes. You don't have to tell me. Just saying it to the people who are going to fucking comment.
I don't even remember his name.
It was Hyuga.
Excuse
I don't remember it.
It's Hyuga.
No, that's what I'm saying. It was Hyuga. It's fucking Ouja, all right? He's Ouja. So Like, I hated the way that they just killed him off, too, because, like, it was just a waste of 2 characters. Like, this death could have been fine with just one guy dying. Like, Kanata dying, hey, you know what? Ouja can be like, oh, look at your little friend. He was such a bitch. He couldn't even kill me with the super magical sword, and he fucking died. LOL. That would have given Amo, like, a big fucking goal to go against. And we wouldn't have to put up with fucking Salaryman and fucking Afro dude over there.
I just called him Jazzy Jeff.
Jazzy Jeff, yeah. We wouldn't have to put up with that bullshit. Again, like, those 2 guys are, like, I think Kanata, at that point, he did fulfill his role. And I kind of expected him to die to Ouja. Again, I'm going to keep calling him that. I expected him to die to him. I just didn't expect Ouja to get murdered like this for no reason. It's like, yeah, you could have done more with him. He could have been better suited for, like, Kuon or Amo, at least.
Or, like, you think it would have been a bit much if they actually had him do both? Like, have him kill Hoshiai if he survived, and also kill, what's his face? Kanata. You think it would have been much?
Yeah, because I think it would have hurt the idea of this guy is the goal for someone. Because if you had 2 guys going at him, eventually you're going to have those 2 guys fight each other to get to him. And I think they always wanted Amo and Kuon to fight at the end, so...
Yeah,
sure.
I think agree. Having it be both would be weird because it's... Well, again, like AJ said, it kind of defeats the purpose to give the two characters the exact same character arc with the exact same goal in a show like this, because it feels like it kind of, again, defeats the purpose. But the problem is that Hyuga as a character just kind of doesn't work in a show like this, where... Like, Ouja works in Ryuki because... Ryuki is more like a straight-up grab for power. You know, there's a clear motive of the more people you kill, the more directly powerful you get. Like, Ouja has a motivation. Ouja has a reason for doing this. Ouja is directly given incentive by the people running the organization. You know, the fucking... What the fuck was his name again? Shiro?
Yeah, Kanzaki.
Kanzaki,
yes. He's directly given a motive by Kanzaki to keep fucking with people and keep trying to murder everybody. And so he makes sense there. But Hyuga doesn't really work here because there's no additional incentive to have the wacky serial killer character in the Battle Royale show if there's no reason for him to be there, because if he just kills more people, then the game goes faster. That's about it. It's like it's kind of the same thing in Battle Royale where they had that character, but that they kind of lost a little bit when they changed from the book, because in the book he was sent there by like the government personally, and he's just like a total fucking sicko he's doing it for fun. But again, that's the problem of you gave the character a motive and a backstory, and he's just like an escaped like serial killer who's just in the game for some fucking reason.
I think it would have been better like if they just said, oh, he's the one who gives the most amounts of like malice and hate, and if we put him in the game, it'll speed our fucking goal up a little bit faster.
That would make...
See, again, even like a one-line thing of like that, it's like, oh, this human generates way more Inga than everybody else, and killing people causes him to generate even more. So let's stick him in here. Even like a one fucking line dialogue like that would have made him work. But
yeah,
he's just a part of the game, and there's nothing really ddone with him either.
It's like what Jay said. It feels like he's brought in there to incentivize the pot of, when I say incentivize what's going on. But the thing is, everybody is there to incentivize the pot. They all want Garo, so it doesn't really make any sense why he would be there.
See, the way you could have done this is, and I know technically they do it with a character we're going to talk about soon. The way you could have done this is you could have had this guy be someone who was just sort of violent, and this game just pushes him over the edge, and he goes a little too far in the eyes of literally everybody else. And he's like, all right, this guy's too fucking dangerous. We got to kill this guy before he kills us, kind of thing.
But see, the problem is that they already have that character. That's Takane.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was saying. Like, it doesn't work that way because you have that. And Takane, well, to be fair, Takane is a bit more nuanced in their fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Not just, lol, I'm just going to stab you. Excuse me. But yeah, like, I wish they would have done more with him, because I do like Ouja-type characters. It's just, in this show, and not only that, but they just kind of kill him off like a bitch. Like, they don't even give him an on-screen death. He just dies.
He
and
becomes
then
a
he
magic
dies as an
demon
undead.
flower, and then he gets cut up. Yeah, that's about it.
That's lame as fuck.
Yeah, and again, especially because it was so dragged out with the stuff with
The demon swords.
yeah, the demon sword.
It was an
and-
entire fucking episode of that shit, man. Like, oh my god. That was one of the worst episodes of the fucking show.
I think I would agree. That was probably the weakest of the show overall.
I'll say this:
Yeah.
the show. One of the things I liked about the show was that it never felt. Some of the episodes, most of the episodes, did not feel dragged out. It always went at like a really fast pace. Like you never knew, like, holy shit, I'm already this amount of minutes into the episode. Damn! But with some of the later episodes, like that one, it felt bogged down.
So I guess with that, let's talk about the YouTube man, wacky YouTube boy who looks like Sid for some reason
He's
from Guy.
my favorite character.
Nagumo, or Nagasuke, as his YouTube handle is, which
Nagumo is based as
I kept
fuck.
calling him that because I forgot what his real name is.
Look, Nagumo should have won. He was
He
robbed.
should have.
Nagumo is the real protagonist
Nagumo
of
was
this
best
show.
boy.
Hashtag Nagumo was robbed.
He was,
He was.
but at the same time, his character works with him not becoming Garo. His character works
True.
ending the way it does.
Yeah.
Because he is the real protagonist of this show. All of the information and the backstory and the lore are delivered through him and not anybody else. From minute one, he's the one who's trying to investigate what the fuck is going on. He's the one who's trying to figure out what the horrors are and what the real deal is of the game and how it all works. He's the one who finds out about the horrors and Garo and all the Makai lore and figures out that, oh, if you die in the game, you die for reals. Oh, if you quit the game, you also die for reals. Oh, this is actually just a scheme to generate evil energy. Oh, Garo is like a real guy, but he's dead now. Oh, and all this additional stuff here.
This is all bullshit.
Like, he's back here doing, like, full corkboard conspiracy investigations while everybody else is running around feeling sad about themselves, and he's the one who's driving the plot for the most part, which is good. I like that. He's the conspiracy guy. He's like the reporter in like the conspiracy thriller where he's like he just kind of stumbles on this mystery and he keeps getting deeper and deeper and deeper into it, and
Yeah.
he gets too deep, and that's just kind of the natural end to his character. But a lot of it is that, like, he has that natural charisma to him where, again, he's a talent, he's a YouTuber, literally a fucking YouTube blogger. They don't call it YouTube, but it's obviously meant to be YouTube.
Yeah.
And he's got that personality to him where he's kind of smug, he's jokey, but he's a talent he's an on-camera talent, so he's got all these different kind of facets to his personality. He's able to really switch between the fly, and then when you're out of the game, you get to kind of really get a look at what his personality is really like, and I really like that. He's a very multi-leveled character in that regard.
He's really like the biggest part about him is, like you said earlier, he's charismatic. Everything. I just like looking at this guy. He's like, more of him, please, more.
He's like, out of everybody, when he's talking about, like, I want to be, like, I'm doing this because it's the right thing, I'm doing this to be a hero, he's the only one who's ever really, like, believable when he says that. Like when Kuon says it, again, it kind of comes off like half-handed, or like he's saying kind of like I.
Yeah, no. In terms of like Kuon's, whenever he says it, I felt like it was just kind of forced, actually, more so than like in comparison to Nagasuke.
Yo, yeah, it's like Kuon had to say it because, like, if he didn't, he'd be like, it's weird because, like, I think Kuon felt like, well, I have to say it, if not, I feel like a fucking hypocrite.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Nagumo was more like, no, I really want to save these people, and I do not want to fucking die. I mean, because, like, literally he says it at the beginning, like, well, he says it, like, towards the middle, was like, look, I have to fight you guys, I'm gonna die. I don't stand a chance against either of you. I might as well try and live.
I've won against the jobbers so far, but you guys are main characters. I'm not going to survive very much longer.
Like, this is not gonna work, guys.
No.
I am the mid Carter.
He's the
He's the Booker T to his Triple H.
that's, you know what? That's mean to Booker T, but that's right, because Booker T is a very charismatic individual who got the short end of the stick constantly.
It's funny because Nagumo's weapon is a short stick.
Yes.
That is not inaccurate.
What the fuck was his weapon, by the way?
It was like one of those retractable like police batons. I don't know why he.
So shit.
Hey,
It was so.
He could have done literally. He could have imagined literally anything, and he went with that.
He could imagine a gun. Nobody knows about guns in this show.
I mean, AJ, like I said, this is Japan. Guns don't exist except for in movies. Okay.
Has nobody played the Yakuza game?
I mean, AJ, guns don't exist in Yakuza game except for in the cutscenes. Because,
Or no, AJ. Just,
I mean, have you
just
tried
remember-
using a gun in combat? They're useless.
You
Just-
want to use your fists
Not
in
in
those
3.
games.
See, just remember, you had people like Kanata and Amo. You think you think they'd use pussy shit like a gun? Come
No,
on.
you'd be a man. You use your
Amu was
fucking
running around there
fists.
wearing fucking medieval knight gauntlets all the time.
Yeah, like at least Amo's weapon made sense. They're basically fucking brass knuckles. Everybody else use these cumbersome long swords and weapons. It's like, guys, like, or the only other one who had like a weapon that worked was
Didn't like friggin' Takane have the friggin' like the projectile?
Yeah,
I was
a
about to
ballistic
mention them.
knife.
Yeah,
that's what I was gonna
ballistic
say. That I was about to mention. Like at least they also fucking had a fucking projectile that I mean, granted, it only had one bullet technically, so you can't. It's not really gonna help, but still. Anyways, what were we saying about
The
Nagumo?
only thing
'Cause
I was
he's
going to
cool.
say about Nagumo is that his character, especially early on, starts to feel a little weird with the whole thing with his manager, where he gets he ties up his manager and lets him get eaten by a horror. That's really the only like hit to his personality and his character, is that one moment where he kind of goes a little too far. And I mean, granted, he deserved it because he did the same thing to him, and it feels a little like immoral considering everything that had been established with the character up to that point. And even later on too, it feels.
You think it was also just him like testing out the theory of like, okay, let's actually see if like people actually get out of this game alive.
I mean, yes, definitely. Like, I understand why he's like, okay, you know, gotta crack a few eggs to make an omelet, Jack. You know,
That's fair.
you gotta make the sacrifice there. And granted, the manager tried to do the exact same thing to him as well, but him talking about like being a hero and trying to protect people because it's the right thing to do, while having actively sacrificed somebody's life to a monster to get eaten and killed, feels a little weird.
Could you make the argument though? That he still at that time thought, hey, if he dies, it's just a game anyways, and I want to see him after I get out. He might get pissed, but hey, she's not dead. And the moment he saw that he actually died, he was like, oh fuck.
I'm not
kinda
sure
fucked up.
because he when he's tying him up, he clearly already has the idea of. He clearly goes into that game with the idea of, okay, the people who are leaving this game are not leaving alive. They're dying for realsies. So he's clearly already in the idea that.
But that was still a theory at that point.
Sure,
Not until-
again, it
he
was a
didn't- He didn't,
theory.
he didn't fully know until he saw it.
No, exactly.
But I know what
And
you mean.
In that defense, him not 100% knowing makes it somewhat better, again, especially because, again, he was only doing it to him because he did the same thing to him. So in that case, it's a little justified. But at the same time, again, it does kind of feel a little at odds. And especially later on, too. I mean, sure, him killing other people, you know, for survival's sake is one thing. That's self-defense. But tying up a dude and leaving him to be devoured by a monster feels
Sure.
a little shady for what his character arc was.
I think if he had done it to anybody else, I would be 100% on your side. Like if he had done it to just some random schmuck.
No,
Oh,
yeah,
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 totally,
yeah,
totally.
yeah.
That.
If,
It's like if he did it to not Kirame Red, I think I would have been able to be there. But he did it to the manager, who like we clearly established was a complete fucking tool. So I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm okay with it.
see,
for the
that's
most
why
part.
I'm not like saying, oh, it completely ruined his character. Oh, it's it's completely
It's a hit, yeah, I
contradictory.
get
Yeah,
you.
it's like I get it. It makes
But you
sense in
don't like
context. It feels weird with everything else later on.
No, I
That
get
It'd
it
be like
100%.
it'd be like to use a nerd example. It'd be like if Superman like killed somebody. It's like in the Snyder movies where Superman actively murders people, but then he's talking about like being like a Jesus figure and like talking about like sacrifice and heroics and all this shit, and it feels hypocritical. And that's a bad example, I know, because that's taking a lot of different things out of context, but that's like the easiest one I could think of, is that like
No, but I get you.
It's like if Superman actively killed people, and then talked about like, oh, I'm doing this because I want to, because like empty platitudes, basically.
Yeah. I get what you mean, like 100%. So I guess after Nagumu, we got to talk about honestly the most interesting character, just on a basis that they gave him a fully developed arc in a sense. Takane. I think that's what their name was.
Yes, Kozuki Takane, quote unquote, as we find out, is a fake name. Who, I'm just gonna be blunt, is just genderqueer Michi, basically.
Yeah.
Don't you mean gender neutral?
No. Same thing.
No, dude, everybody, they're like, oh, dude, everyone thinks you to girls. Like, motherfucker, like, I have seen guys way more effeminate than this dude.
Far away, yeah, I thought he was a girl as well, but when you look at him more and more, Takane is male, has more. He's male, but he has more feminine features.
I mean, I won't lie and say that at the very least in the first episode, I thought he was a girl, just because he has like one line and he's kind of whispering, and you look at him kind of like hunched over with the hair kind of covering most of his face.
But Jay, here's why I never believed that. You want to know why? Because there's no such thing as a female Makai.
That's what I said.
That's true.
Boom.
That's true. There are absolutely no other women too. That's right. I didn't even think about that.
Right? Like literally from word go, when they said Makai Night, I'm like, all right, there's not going to be a single chick in this. It's a sausage factory in this fucking fight.
I mean, even though Joel Elephant clearly thought he was a girl, which first of all,
oh my god,
wait.
Yes, it was. Yes.
Okay, how many people are actually in here?
What are you doing here?
I don't know why he was in this show. I don't know why he showed up just to get murdered. But
dude, what is it with Garo and Sentai alums just being like, I want to be in there now?
I know, right? Like, it just happens. It just kind of happens.
You know what? Maybe Amamiya is just way into Sentai, and he's like, I wonder how I could kill this guy.
The motherfucker made Jetman. I would hope he's into Sentai.
Or maybe I was like, he saw a guy and he's like, I want to see his ass a couple times. Put him in.
I mean, show. You know what? That's some good thinking, even though he didn't do that show.
Right.
Yeah.
But still, like, it's weird. A lot of Sentai people just go to Garo. Like, fuck's sake, Yellow Lion just get there to die.
Yeah, Yellow Lion shows up to deliver exposition in one scene, and then dies off screen.
It's like what he did in Ghost.
Die.
Comes in, explains, refuses to explain further, dies.
I think it's a little better in Ghost because he has more screen time in Ghost.
Yeah, that's true. At least he doesn't come in. He's like, go away, Nagumo, you're a bitch.
You know what? Yeah, I will say it was done better here in Garo. At least we didn't have time travel shenanigans.
I mean, no, it's... I was about to say, on the other hand, that's more screen time in Ghost, so it's still... It kind of loses there.
Exactly. I would rather die in Garo than live in Ghost.
It's true.
Okay, that's fair.
Can I ask one thing? There's one thing that's always been perplexing me about Takane.
Yes, he has a 14-inch
No,
dong.
not that. I'm being serious.
I mean, listen. If all of the internet femboys I've seen are anything to go by, I'm sure AJ's right about that one.
Now,
Go on, Phil.
Okay, so throughout the show, we find out that Takane murdered someone, murdered a classmate, and we don't know who, but we never know who it is. And we also find out that he was raised by an abusive mother, a very abusive mother. Do you think that... Is there the possibility that the person he's murdering was not a classmate, but his mother?
I don't think the show is that smart to imply that, because at the very end, they imply that who he killed was a bully, not his mother.
I mean, the thing is that it's all of the newspaper articles, both the ones in the past and the ones in the present we see, they very clearly say that he killed a classmate. So I don't think so. I think maybe he probably would have done that if he had won the game or something. I think that was in the back burner there, but I think at the same time, Takane probably like really buried that part of him until the game kind of brought it back. And
yeah.
I will say, this is another case where a prediction was very obvious and came true, but not in the way people expected, is that everybody kind of saw Takane in the first episode where he's this very timid, kind of like meek individual, very girly, you know, again, he's gender neutral, very timid, feminine individual, and everybody was like, okay, so he's gonna get mind broken by the game and go full sicko mode at the end. Which technically happened, except one, it happened way earlier than everybody expected, and two, he was already completely insane before starting the game, so he wasn't really
go sicko mode if you're already in sicko mode.
He was already in sicko mode to begin with.
I mean, when you're threatening journalists and basically making them rethink their profession, you know you're sick.
I mean, you know what? Hey, that's based. Fuck journalists. But at the same time, like,
Do what you gotta
I
do
was
against
really
the tabloids.
surprised by how quickly that shoe dropped with him. Because because you have the whole arc where he finds out that his idol, his inspiration for becoming a model, is in the game too. He starts following him around, and you expect the twist is that the model is gonna try to kill him because he wants more power, and that's what kind of like starts to slowly break him into the game. But no, he just stabs him completely unceremoniously because his entire end game was to kill him to begin with, and it's such a shock. It legitimately caught me off guard the first time. Almost.
Just start playing that over the scene. It's fine.
And then from there, honestly, I think he has a higher body count than the serial killer.
He does.
By a long shot, Jay.
If there was as many keys as he had, I'm pretty sure he had more keys in that maze.
This-
He killed people.
This motherfucker has probably the biggest body count in the entire show, bar
Pretty
none.
much.
And that's including the serial killer.
Oh yeah.
Like,
And
it's insane.
Like, honestly, having the serial killer guy is entirely superfluous because he's basically the same character, except, again, I know we already said this, but why they felt the need to have another serial killer character just doesn't make any sense at all. It just
it's weird
feels
because
weird.
they don't introduce him, or they don't make it seem like he is a serial killer. They make it seem like he is more just heavily disturbed. But I mean, even then, like, he becomes a serial killer anyways. So it's like you said, it's redundant because, all right, we have a serial killer, but then a character becomes a serial killer. Okay.
Yeah.
What the fuck's the point? But I will say, though, he is still one of the most interesting characters in this show, solely on the fact that he is just a disturbed little shit.
He is.
Like, wow, I have not felt this unnerved by a Tokusatsu character in a long time.
And I like that, even though it's a very sharp decline from being like kind of a weirdo and a little disturbed to full on murderer. I like that they don't go like super overkill with him until the very end too, where he's already like murdering people left and right, game 2, but even in real life he's still kind of normal. Like, he's not like a full crazy man, obviously, where he's being harassed by the journalists, and there he's just kind of like, he's kind of putting up with it until it reaches a boiling point there.
Exactly.
And there that feels like a natural progression of like, okay, I'm done kind of hiding who I am, so I'm, this is me finally snapping. But then once you get to like the last couple of games where he's just like full on lunatic mode in real life, basically. And I like that too as well, where outside of the game they still keep him relatively grounded up until the very end.
It's because up till then, it was still just a game to him until he realized, no, this is real. I have to fucking just let it out.
Oh yeah.
I honestly, dude, he is like, I shouldn't say my favorite character, because that would make it seem like I like his ideas, but he is the most interesting character in the show just by how they treat him. Like, because they don't treat him like just a normal psycho. They really, really go into like, no, this guy is sincerely fucked in the head to the point where even the other characters are like, "What the fuck is wrong with you, dude?" Like everybody literally looks at him and is like, "What the fuck?"
The weird thing is, what is up with that rabbit of his? Is that supposed to be like?
Did you watch the show?
I did.
They basically say it right there. It's basically a representation of like his mental state.
Yeah,
it's who he sees.
It's like a voodoo doll of himself, basically. More or less.
It's who he sees.
I thought it was kind of like he took his old self and put it in the rabbit, and then he basically became a new person.
Nah, I mean, like metaphorically speaking, sure, maybe, but they kind of set up like that he's making the rabbit before he like kills somebody, and his mom beating him up and tearing up the rabbit is kind of what pushed him over.
The idea that I got from it was more the rabbit was the start of him being able to accept. All right. I can be someone else that people don't fucking despise. And his mom beating him kind of cemented the idea of, okay, I literally have to hide this. Like it's kind of weird to say, but this is the most accurate depiction of someone mentally going insane that I've ever seen in the Toku show. It's
a very good depiction both of like the way not to be a fart sniffer, but like the way LGBTQ culture is kind of presented of being like using it as a way of like of symbolizing who you want to be as a person, and then the reaction to that as well. And at the same time, being a good way of representing how people develop mental illnesses and psychosis from it, abusive childhoods and traumatic situations kind of cause the mind to just go nutso over the years, and how much you try to bury it, nothing ever really stays buried. You just get better at hiding it.
It's one of those things where it's like you start actually questioning during the show. It's like, is he like this because he was always like this, or did the abusive childhood and the traumatic experiences of killing somebody basically mold him into saying, I have to be this person because that other person is going to come out someday, and I'm fucking terrified of that. It's weird. It's interesting.
And I do like that they never give a definitive answer to it. Because, like, you got him going, you got him at the end where he's fighting Amo, and Amo starts just pummeling the hell out of him, and you get the flashback. Oh god,
that was messed up, bro.
Which is very weirdly brutal, even for a show like Garo, which usually doesn't shy away from this kind of realistic violence. It's so like brutal because it's just Amo just repeatedly blowing him in the face, and he's just screaming "mommy" the entire time while he's
legit that was fucking like
Jesus
Christ.
It was really unsettling too because he's just gushing blood out of his mouth after every scream.
I think the one part of that really hit me the most was like he says like, I don't want to die thinking of my mom, and you just see Amo just like tearing up like, oh Jesus,
he's just like,
oh yeah,
this is like a real person underneath
he's looking at him like, I'm beating up this guy who doesn't need to die, he needs fucking help, dude, what the fuck.
I feel like when like that final blow to Takane was less of Amo winning, but more just putting the poor guy out of his misery.
Basically. I mean, that's basically what he said. Like, I'm going to put you out of your misery and send you to some place with more peace. Like, where you can be at peace.
Which is actually kind of prophetic when you think about it.
Honestly, I like the entire idea behind Takane's character, where it's just like, I don't know, dude. Like, something about it just really, really resonated with me. I don't know what that says about me, by the way. But it just resonated with me where I'm just like, this guy, it just feels, like Jay said, and I know he was talking about the fight scene, but like his entire arc and personality feels oddly more like brutally realistic than these shows usually go to. Like, you'll usually have like a surface level understanding of it, but this like Amamiya was just like, no, let's give you people something to think about.
And to think about, I do like that they don't give a definitive answer. Like,
oh yeah.
Again, you have him screaming at the end about him crying about his mother, where you never really quite get the idea of, oh, everybody he kills just a symbolic of his mom? That's kind of his thing, is him lashing out against his abusive childhood, or is his abusive childhood the cause of his psychotic behavior? And I like that they never give a good answer on that. They kind of leave it ambiguous there at the end. That was
really awesome,
good.
Honestly.
Really good decision there with the writers.
It's one of those things. It's one of those characters in Tokusatsu where I'm just like, he kind of goes above what you would usually get in these shows, and that's why I love this fucking. That's why I love this fucking subset of fucking entertainment, dude. Because you always get shit like this out of nowhere, especially like in this type of stuff. It's like, fuck. It's like when we were watching Doku-chan, like they just go this whole fucking socialism route with crabs.
Yeah, that one was really weird, wasn't it?
It was Doku-chan in general is fucking weird, bro.
Yes, it was.
Fucking the anti-censorship episode alone should tell you that. Like, what the fuck was that? But yeah, I loved Takane's character. It was a really good character, and again, it's a good character that you don't like, but you understand, and that's the best kind of character. You don't gotta like him; you just gotta understand him. And again, like Jay said, one of the most brutal ways of fucking dying in a show like this, just literally getting punched to death. Fuck, dude.
Oh yeah.
Look, that fucking picture that I took of his like bloody face, that was just like, ugh, that's battle royale tier.
Yeah, with the white spotlight in the black room with I don't know if there was like snowflakes or flower petals or whatever, just kind of slowly trickling down, and you get the bright red blood there contrasting with the neutral color palette of everything. It makes it really pop out, and makes it really honestly kind of artsy, even for Garo, which is usually a very artsy kind of show.
This entire show is very much like that.
Amamiya is just like that, yeah. And
dude, legit, Amamiya, and I will get to my gripes with it, obviously, with the show feeling kind of cheap, but in general, Amamiya really tried to push the boundaries of what his visuals can be in a show like this, for the most part. Like, a lot of little points here just feels like him, like, experimenting with, I want to do this, and I want to do this, and I want, like, visual storytelling, and obviously Amamiya is a master at that at this point. Like, but with this specifically, I was like, yeah, I think you kind of hit it on the nail on the head with this one, Amamiya. You did good, bud. You did good.
Oh yeah.
So who do we talk about now?
Who else?
Well, let's get our villains out of the way, because they're both one-dimensional.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we have Azami,
What about
Akibablue, and
Hoguri?
Hagiri, I believe was his name.
Hagiri, I think his name was, or
Yes,
Hoguri.
Huggy.
Who is a big sore loser, a big whiny crybaby loser, basically.
Loser! You're a loser!
You feel sorry for yourself? Baby, what a bottle! Big dirt bottle! Loser! But both of our main villains are very one-dimensional, and that's fine because they both complement each other because they're one-dimensional. They manage to fit together well, but on their own, neither of them are particularly interesting. Because Azami is basically the Antichrist, evil for evil's sake, who is here manipulating people and manipulating the game just to generate Inga because evil, basically. She has no end goal other than generating the dark metal because evil. And that's fine. When in a context like this, you don't really need to have a villain who has like a grand elaborate origin or anything like that, or a big world spanning evil scheme.
But then she just
I mean,
walks
fuck's
away.
sake, let's go back to the original Battle Royale, where the games basically existed because the Japanese government was incompetent, and you don't have any more idea than that. That's basically the end game of it, is that the government sucks at their job, so let's get a bunch of teenagers to kill themselves. And even in the context of the movie, you have Takeshi Kitano's character, whose only real motive is he's just here to do his job. He's just the supervisor here. He doesn't have any grand scheme or motive because, he's just getting paid to watch these kids kill themselves. That's it. And that's fine. That's fine in this context, but that also leaves them not a whole lot to really talk about.
Yeah, and it's kind of sad because we literally went on this whole thing with fucking Takane and Amo and everybody else, and it's like, for the villains to be so kind of like meh, and this kind of comes to something, and I think I've mentioned this before. Excuse me, I've mentioned this before. I kind of hate the idea of having, unless you're gonna do something with them or have them being legitimately important. I always hate the idea of introducing like a super uber powerful final boss in battle royales, because usually they're not very good.
No.
Like for example, Kanzaki Shiro and Odin. Like everybody else was more interesting than he was, or the fucking overlords in Gaim. Who the fuck were they? Or fucking Saga. Let's not even get into him until January. But fucking all that shit. Like, I hate that. I hate it because it seems like something obvious to do. It's like, oh, he's the final boss. He has to be the one to, fight the guy at the end. But I would at least like if there was at least something interesting about them. Because if not, I would have. I think most people would be okay if this ended at Kuon versus Amo. Because at least there was a definitive winner, and you liked, or at least understood, both of the characters at that point. Because Hagari was just like, hey, I lost. I suck at being Garo because I couldn't pull out a sword.
On one hand, it's weird where it was very predictable that the end was going to be Hagari in the evil Garo armor versus Kuon in the regular Garo armor.
Sure.
Even though, I won't lie, as obvious as it was that he wasn't going to be Garo, the show really did keep me guessing whether or not they were going to have Amo become Garo instead of Kuon.
Honestly, dude, I kind of expected them to pull that twist too. I thought Amo was going to win.
I knew it wasn't going to happen because Kuon was the only one anybody talked about in advertising, so I knew he was going to be the real Garo because obviously he's the real main character. But even then, the show really, really did have me guessing up until like the final arc if Kuon was going to be Garo or not.
I mean, that's just the markings of a good character. I mean, shit, yeah. This is the same thing that everybody thought back in Gaim. Like everybody wanted Kota to fucking lose.
Yeah, but
nobody wanted him to win.
Well, with what they did with Kaito, do you really think Kaito would have been?
It don't matter. We'll get to that in January. So back to where we're saying.
I'll say this: Hogari could have been interesting.
Hagari, not Hogari.
I don't care.
That's a place where you get sandwiches, Phil.
I just call him Vale now because I just call him Vale to make it easier. He could have been.
That's fair.
He could have been interesting in that he was chosen, or at least he had the potential to be like they wanted him to be Garo, and he couldn't pull the sword after he won. That could have been symbolic of Garo judging him because, oh, this kid used hatred. He didn't want it because, oh, he wants to be Garo, he wants to protect people. No, he just let his innermost demons come out. Now, granted, we never saw that. We saw that in Yellow Lion's character, but we never saw that in him.
See, I like the idea you're going with, but I would have thrown it one step further to where I would have liked if he actually had a resentment against Garo. Like, if the whole thing was, like, just to get the Veil to kill Garo in general, because he has a resentment against him. Because, think about it, he was kind of like Kuon.
Corrupt the legacy of Garo or something like that.
Like, where he was like, he had a fucking thing against, like Kuon. Like, he saw this kid, he saw himself in this kid, and when he was a kid, he was like, well, I want to be like he was like Kuon as a kid, where he's like, oh, I don't want to fucking fight, I don't want to kill people. But then he's forced to, and then he realizes, well, what the fuck? I killed all these people, and I still don't get it. So what the fuck was the point of all of this? He's basically like what Kuon would have been if this whole thing really did turn out to be a big old scam.
Yes.
Like, and I like that idea. It's just they never really pushed it. Like they just make him big evil final boss Armstrong, man. But even Armstrong's better than this guy.
Yeah,
but
at least Armstrong had like an understandable motive. I mean,
and he had nanomachines.
As completely bug-fuck insane as Armstrong and his plan was, at least his end goal made sense.
And he kicked a robot.
I think the problem is that that Hagari just doesn't have any kind of personality to him, because his backstory comes so late in the show.
Episode
that
9, it comes.
They just don't have a chance to explore it. Is the problem?
Exactly.
If we had gotten the origin episode like episode like 4 or something, or like even let's give it some benefit, episode 7, right? And you don't make it obvious that the kid who failed to become Garo is Haguri. You kind of leave it ambiguous whether or not he was the kid who lost and nearly died, or he was the one who was he was the winner and then failed to become Garo. You leave it ambiguous there.
Yeah.
And then because they start trying to set up like a like a we're not so different, you and I kind of arc with him and Kuon, where they're kind of the same. They have a little similarities too, where they both wanted the power of Garo to protect people, and they both had to give in to their own. They had to give up their kind of morals to give in to the violence of the game, and it ended up having to be this way, that we had to fight to the death for our goals. And even after he sacrificed all of that, Haguri lost, and even though he won, he lost, and he still has that resentment there. So the whole game is him trying to make up for his loss and get what he truly deserved, and kind of corrupt Garo in the process. And they never really quite go so far as doing the join me and we can rule the galaxy as father and son kind of thing.
That would have been hilarious.
That would, you know what? No, that would have been good too.
Right, and join me and we could be nano machines together.
That would have been I think that would have been interesting too, as if Haguri saw part of Kuon in him more than he did, and he started trying to tempt him and started trying to rig the game for Kuon's sake, and he starts trying to reject that, and that would have been interesting. But they introduced that like 2 episodes before the finale, and there's no time to explore it at all.
Now, do you think that is because they were only given 12 episodes? Because I'm not going to say that this was meant to be. I think they only gave them 12 episodes.
No, this was definitely meant to only be 12 episodes.
Was it?
Yes.
Amamiya had some fucking balls thinking he could pull this off in the way he did.
Amamiya's not the writer, obviously.
Is he not the writer of this one?
No, he only directed this one.
Oh, so who wrote it?
Our main director, or main writer, rather, based on what I could find, and in this case being wrote the most episodes, was a man named Masaki Hiramatsu.
Okay.
Whose only notable credit was writing fucking Ark of the Lad 3 20 years ago. And then
we're working with some fucking heavyweights here.
And basically everything else looks like some fucking visual novel movie adaptation shit. I don't know.
I mean, if you had told me it was the guy who did Vanny Nights, I'd be all for it.
Well, I mean, that's the guy who did Maji Ranger, so that, he has experience.
But see, Maji Ranger, shows. I've heard, is not like Vanny Nights.
Well, of course, it's not. No,
Maji Ranger's very different.
If Maji Ranger was like Vanny Nights, I would be all over that shit.
Are you kidding me? That'd still be the most popular Sentai.
It would be the only Sentai left because they wouldn't want to renew it after that bullshit. Fucking Maji Red eating his sister? Let's go. Anyways, as you were saying. Yeah.
But no.
Anyways.
So of course, Amamiya is not the writer of the show, but at the same time, I think it's clear that this wasn't meant to be any longer than 12 episodes, just because the structure of the show is in a way where it kind of naturally leads to a point of anything longer would have felt weird, because then they're trying to stall for time with the games, and then you run the risk of running out of ideas and stuff. And how can we come up with more interesting ways for people to get murdered without like just straight up ripping stuff off? Like, it never gets quite so far as the electrified beam 50 stories tile off the ground like in fucking Kaiji or anything. But I mean, granted, that would be really fun if they did that.
They should have made a fucking spike pit.
Yeah.
Throw some people off spike pit. Go full Mortal Kombat with it. Why not?
Do it like Soul Calibur. They're just on a floating platform in the middle of nothing, and if you fall off, well, too bad, guy. But
yeah, you just slightly stepped off the fucking ring. Too bad, I win.
And I think that's the problem too, is that like they try to do that thing where the villains try to manipulate the heroes. It's like, because that's the thing with the battle. You have the battle royale shows where it's all about testing your heroes motives and their personalities and their resolves. And on one hand, having the villains trying to manipulate them into doing that and having them actively fuck with them beyond promising power and stuff like that, it starts to get a little iffy, like in Ryuki when
Kanzaki
Shiro.
Yes, thank you. Kanzaki Shiro. When Kanzaki starts trying to manipulate Shinji directly by giving him power-ups, and Shinji's still just like, fuck off, dick. I'm still going to stick to what I'm doing there. And you kind of have that playing with the expectations. That at least works in Ryuki, where it doesn't, for Kanzaki's goal, it doesn't really matter who wins. And in the same sense, it's the same in this show, where it really doesn't matter if anybody wins, because whoever wins still loses at the end, because they don't expect anybody to actually be able to use Garo, and this was all just an excuse to generate the veil. So it's fine in this instance where you're trying to manipulate people in your death game, because it's weird, because the villains being so one-dimensional, it feels weird that they would even bother, but at the same time, again, their end goal, it doesn't matter if they manipulate people or not. So
exactly,
it's a little weird.
That's why I'm saying I wish we could just have a show, and I know it'd be kind of clunky because you'd have to explain why they'd be fighting and who put it all together. But I wish there was a show where you would just have a battle royale straight up. Whoever the last two who fight, whoever wins that wins that. That's it. Nobody else comes in. There's no final boss. Vince McMahon is not the higher power. None of that bullshit comes in.
What is with
Just they win.
Vince McMahon?
Don't worry about it, though.
No, you know what? Having Vince McMahon be the final boss would make a little bit more sense.
Oh, go on! Oh, go on now.
It's me, Kuon. It was me all along.
Kuon, look, Kuon. Look at these lats. Look at these calves. They're so even. He would be that type of guy. He'd be like, oh my god, look how many pecs Garo has. So let's talk about the ending, because the ending. Actually, yeah, let's talk about the ending, because it's great.
So again, it feels natural that the show ends with the big fight with the Garo armors, because I mean, you can't really do a Garo show without fucking Garo in it.
Sure, you can. There was 12 episodes of this bullshit.
I mean, I know that. I was about to say, even though this show is in fact a Garo show without Garo in it, but at the same time, it does feel like it makes sense to have Kuon become Garo, because it would have been weird if it was just like, oh, haha, tough shit, you lose. I have my super mega death armor, and the world is fucked. And then he doesn't even get like a fighting chance, or doesn't even really get to like do anything. You know, he doesn't even get a chance to do talk no jutsu, because he just gets cut down immediately, right? Because that's what he tries to do anyways, is he just tries to murder Kuon the second he gets his armor.
Exactly.
So having it end with the winner actually becoming Garo as promised feels natural, and it feels like it was earned.
Sure.
And the final fight was absolutely worth it, because up to that point, well, the shit wasn't anything subdued. Granted, by Garo standards, it was relatively tame up until that final fight, where it goes absolutely, totally bonkers with it. And I really did enjoy the final battle, because it feels like that chance to have Hagiri and Kuon like have that moral debate with each other about their their similar personalities, but their contrasting morals. And it feels good too, because it just, you have that scene there where he's in the headlock and he's thinking about all of his friends, and by friends I mean like
The people he had to murder.
People who tried to murder him.
and like occasionally Nagumo and everybody else who tried to murder him, which I think was kind of a little weird. It would have been like, it would have made a little bit more sense for him to think about
And
like
Takane.
if Takane wasn't a fucking lunatic to him all the
my
damn
great friend
So
Takane.
just
my great friend, we had all these moments together. And he thinks back to like the one time in the dressing room where Takane told him to eat shit. And it's like, man, what a great friendship we had.
you know,
great
again,
guy.
this only builds credence to this is like Kwon is basically just a shonen pro tag in the wrong environment. Clearly the wrong
Yeah.
He
guy.
literally has the shonen friendship flashback with people who don't want anything to fucking do with him.
I mean, he has the friendship flashback with Kanata, and he never
I know,
even interacted.
It's like
with
it's like imagine if like in Gaim he had like a flashback to all like the energy writers. Ah, Sid, what a great guy.
or like he had a flashback to like Hase, like his friendship with Hase, which
And it's
was
only
nothing.
him dying.
Yeah, or like
Yes!
Ryoma Sengoku. It was just like,
Oh,
why?
Yeah, yeah, like like 2 neutral interactions we had with him before he went full supervillain.
see,
Yeah,
And see, here's the thing though. Like, I kind of thought, and see, this is why I said earlier, I rather would have just had the fight with Kuon and Amo be the last one because that one was way fucking better.
I mean, it
It
was.
was.
That was a way fucking better. Like, that was an amazing fucking fight. Because it was just all fucking balls and no wall. It was amazing. And then we kind of get CG, and I'm like, I'm sorry, I just don't like
Yeah,
CG
I think-
What are we
Garo
watching?
fights.
Shogeki Garaigan?
I think I agree. Everything being CG, it makes it a little worse, and obviously that's because they were only going to use the suit in like 1 episode, so cost-wise, it made sense not to spend money on 2 suits.
Sure.
But on the other hand, it was like, because you got all this really cool like action, and none of it's really all that like insane by Garo standards. I mean, it's, you know, sure, you got the energy sword whip, and you got Kuon fucking punting the veil halfway across the
That
CG
was pretty
environment
fucking
like he's
funny.
a football, right?
It's pretty fucking
Yeah.
funny.
Which was great. But I mean, having it be CG just feels really weird. And like I understand because of cost wise, but
Sure.
it makes the fight a little worse in comparison. I would agree there.
To be fair, and I say it like this, but again, they know they probably wouldn't have done it. Would have it been better if they only used the Garo and Veil suits for the last, like, final blow? Because that way we would cut down on the CG and we would still have a good fight with the actors. Like, because again, like, Kuon and Amo had a great fight and it had no CG in it besides, like, obvious, like, effects, like blood effects and stuff like that. I think if you because they even teased us, Hagri and Kuon were starting to do a little bit of the kung fu sortie bullshit. I think if you had it only done for that last final fight, like, clash, I think it would have been much better received, at least for me.
Like, actually, like, this kind of raises the question for me, because, again, kind of or definitely really new to, like, Garo and whatnot, but, like, first off, like, are the fights usually, like, this CG'd?
Like, Makai Senki wasn't, not really.
Okay.
It depends on who is when Amamiya is producing and directing it. No, they're usually not this CG heavy. Even when there's CG, it's mostly like, you know, if I don't remember if you watched Shogeki Garaigan with this, but it's the suits are real, but then the environments and everything else are CG laced. So
It's more to enhance the
Gotcha.
fight, really.
yes, they're more. It's more there to
Yeah.
enhance it, and whenever it's not Amamiya, it's usually just all CG. And I think the last time they did full CG, the entire show was Yamitera, and everybody fucking hated it. So even then, they still do real suits most of the time, but even when they do CG fights, yeah, people tend to hate the CG fights.
It's because they just don't look. Look, I'm sorry, but it's the same thing when I was telling you earlier with the blood splats. They don't
Yeah.
follow real physics. They don't follow real momentum, and it just looks off. That's why I hate CG fights in any fucking anything, because it just doesn't follow. It doesn't look right. It never looks right. It just looks it just looks shitty.
Oh yeah.
That's why I have such a hard on for fucking Kuon versus Amo, because that was just full on them. It was just them fighting it out, and it looked great. And then you have fucking Armstrong over here with his fucking bullshit bullwhip, and it just looks. I think it's also because CG in TV shows in Japan just haven't hit that level, and I don't think they're ever going to for a while. I mean, shit, look at Revice, dude. Revice still looks bad, and we're apparently running on Unreal Engine 5. What the fuck?
Oh yeah.
What?
Yeah, the CG in Kamen Rider upgrades to the Unreal Engine
Oh.
5.
Well,
Oh, I have
Unreal 4
I'm looking
technically,
forward to.
but-
Oh, it's
catching
still
up
Unreal
with that.
4?
Yeah, well, Unreal 5 doesn't exist yet, AJ. They
Yes,
haven't
it does.
released it.
Yes, it does.
They haven't released it yet, have
No,
they?
it's real.
No, I know it's real. They announced it like a
The
fucking
Matrix
week ago.
tech demo was based on that, dude.
Man, the Matrix doesn't count.
Yes, it does.
Fuck you.
It's a game that's in the public that has Unreal Engine 5. Bite my beats.
Matrix more like
Garo VR.
Look, the
Matrix.
Matrix sucks ass, dude, but I'm
Yes,
just saying
it
it's
does.
real. Look, the
Anyways.
Matrix, yeah, but like I said, the Matrix sucks ass, but it counts.
to get back to the point to answer Chad's question. No, they're usually not this much of a CG fest, and I think again it's just because this one was a shorter show with a low budget. I think that's probably why.
Low budget. Oh, I think you misspoke. It's no budget. Oh, oh my God! I think I saw a couple of walls fall down on the set a couple of times. It was, dude. I'm not gonna lie. This show, for what it's worth, they did the best with what they could, but it looked cheap.
No,
Oh,
like
yeah.
if I'm gonna
It
be
looked
honest,
cheap.
if I'm gonna be very honest, like I had to like remind myself throughout like viewing this show that it's basically this was not a COVID production. This was a show that had like basically I don't know regular filming protocols, I guess you could say.
Yeah,
Or,
regular
like,
production.
Yeah, it was a regular production that didn't require any social distancing or any special conditions that would, well, I guess back then wasn't exactly threatening to any of the actors or the film crew at all. And it's just kind of like with that in mind, it was just really kind of off-putting, especially to see like that amounts of CG used in a final battle, and just I don't know, it was weird.
It is weird, and again, like I ranted about this in the server earlier. I hate the CG blood and the CG wounds, dude. Oh my God, dude! Did you see the fucking slash wound on Amo at the very end? That was so bad.
Yeah.
That was so bad, dude. Like this was not a good looking CG show at all, which is ironic. Because all the fucking fight scenes were awesome, for the most part. Like, the actual character fight scenes were fucking great.
They were really visceral. Like that's one thing I've always loved about Garo shows. The fighting, compared to something like Rider or Sentai, the fights are really visceral,
brutal.
and I love it.
Fuck,
It
dude,
kind of makes me
you
wonder,
know,
like,
I knew I wasn't... Yeah.
who actually does the action choreography for Garo shows, or specifically this one?
Multiple people.
I think Amamiya does, but I don't remember off the top of my head.
Look, if Amamiya is the one who told Amo, hey, do a German suplex, then he is my favorite director of all time.
Yeah.
Because, look, I knew I was in for a fun time when the fucker just... He fucking did a suplex out of nowhere, and then he did a German suplex, and then he did a clothesline, and I'm like, all right, Amo is out for my fucking heart right now, because this is amazing. Like, literally fucking amazing. Honestly, everybody had a pretty realistic fighting style. Like, it didn't look pretty, but it looked real. And I was like, yeah, that's interesting. I like that. I like this a lot.
Like you could see that. I have coworkers who say like they can't watch Power Rangers because one of them does do martial arts, and she said that like you wouldn't be able to do that type of fighting in a street fight because they would cheat. Garo fights, and even to an extent Common Teacher, I can see being done in like a street
Well, yeah,
fight.
because like one of the bigger things that I know a lot. I remember when VR came out, someone complained about it. You especially during the final fight, you saw how Kuon was like just flailing away with his punches. That's pretty realistic, because if you're just trying to knock some motherfucker out, you're not really gonna care if you look pretty. You just want to fucking kill this guy, and it looked great. It looked really good. The only one that kind of looked a little fucky was Takane, but I mean, the guy probably weighs about 10 pounds soaking wet. So, but I think that's pretty much everything, unless you can think of something, Jay.
What about that ending though?
Oh, that's right.
you
Yeah, we
mean
never
the
actually
really
got to talk about the
depressing
ending.
That
Yeah,
ending.
right, we never
the
finished the
semi
ending.
bittersweet ending.
So is
Where
I kind of went to Reddit for this. So is that the Makai dimension? That Kwon's just like kind of stuck there, or like what?
well, I don't know, because the VR game was in Makai. but then they're in the mountains, so I guess maybe they're in the real world now. Maybe they're still stuck in Makai.
By the way, everybody, twist, the VR game is not a VR game. It's actually in the Makai realm.
Yeah, I think I brought that up earlier.
Did you?
I might have. Because when they have Amo and Kuwan's big final fight is in the little area where in Makai where Haguri had his fight in the original tournament. But then they go to the weird blue window room, the Windows Vista screensaver room. And then suddenly they're in a snowy field afterwards. So I think they are back in the real world as of the final scene.
So then basically after Azami says like lols, I just basically did this just for funsies and like, you know what, this was fun, I'm gonna pick up a new hobby, or like I'm gonna go star in like another Tokusatsu show basically. Did she just basically say like, oh yeah, I'm gonna tell you to fuck off, and then now you're just kind of stuck here, so peace, homie?
Yeah,
basically.
I guess, yeah. I mean, it's kind of weird to say because the show kind of ended with Satan just being like, lol, bye. And the hero just kind of like, well, fuck. I guess I'm going home.
Because the show ends with the bad guy winning. And our hero, the only one powerful enough to stop them, quitting and giving up. Which, on one hand, is a really good ending. I really like this ending. It really works with the themes of the show, and it really kind of serves as a good end point to Kuwan's character, where he finally gave in and he finally got the power, and he's like, I don't want this power. I don't want this responsibility. It was not worth it to get here. And he gives it up. He goes back to being normal, which, if it weren't for the fact that the show also ends with Azami having the full veil suit of dark metal and running off completely unhinged with nobody powerful enough to stop her. The fucking reincarnation of the super mega demon monster that killed Garo, the ultimate evil in the universe that wins, and we have no hero to stop it. I think it would be a brilliant ending, but it's still brilliant. But then it also ends off in a weird space where, okay, so this is where the VR story ends. We never come back to it. We never follow up to it. And the show ends with the fucking bad guy winning and the only hero left giving up and quitting. Or you continue it and you completely decimate the emotional impact of the ending by having Kuwan change his mind and becoming Garo again for reals. There's no real good way you could continue this.
You don't win.
No. It's like Battle Royale 2, where Battle Royale 1 ended with the two kids escaping the Battle Royale tournament and running off to go live free and unmonitored from the government. And then comes Battle Royale 2, where, because the Japanese government still won at the end, they're still doing the Battle Royales. So they fucking change their minds and go back into the Battle Royale to try to stop it, which doesn't make any fucking sense because it completely destroys the ending of the original movie by having them change their mind about trying to escape from the government.
Well, see, that's the problem. It's like, no matter what ending you go with, or no matter what possibility you go with, technically you don't win with this ending. Because, like, all right, he comes back and kills Azami, but like you said, it destroys the emotional impact of this ending in general. But if you go with just this ending as it is, Azami's just going to kill literally everybody anyways. She's got basically a world-breaking nuke. So, fuck? Oh no!
Or
like, it's the biggest
oops.
Like it's the biggest like shoulder shrug ever. It's like, I guess.
Or
see ya.
Or like what? Basically, it's pretty much open-ended enough. Is this where we see, in a serious manner, of like basically the Garo Ken basically chooses its next user? Or is this a thing of just like, oh yeah, by the way, all the Garos are like friggin' multiverse, so now we'll have Garo Decade. and then cross over through the
Garo
Garo
Decade.
worlds.
We already did have that.
Oh yeah, that's right. It was
We already had Garo
we
Decade.
did. I kind of forgot that happened. But then again, I actually
Look,
haven't watched it. So
the only way that this ending could be resolved without Kuon coming back would be stupid, because it would just be Battle Royale 2 again. You would just have to do the whole thing all over again, which would be fucking pointless. It would be like if you did Ryuki 2.
well, I mean, we technically got Ryuki too.
We did.
Yeah, well, writer time is fucking dumb, and whoever wrote it should kill themselves.
Well, AJ, that's exactly the point is that I'm trying to make, is that you try to follow up the Battle Royale show with a sequel, and the sequel can't fucking work because it requires you to completely destroy the ending of the original story.
You're just stuck. You're
It's
stuck.
See, like, out of everything possible, the fucking Gaim Gaidens got this right, because the Gaim Gaidens don't have Coda coming back, and they don't change the ending of the show. They're just other stories about what happened afterwards with
all
the other
stupid as hell.
characters.
They're all stupid as hell.
They're
though.
stupid as hell still, but that's just because of fucking Butcher. That's not because of the show itself.
That Butcher wrote.
No. Butcher did not write any of the Gaim Gaidens.
Oh, that's right. No, that's right. He
only.
That's right. He didn't do the Gaim
He only
Gaidens.
did.
Let me correct myself.
Yeah, he only did Zangetsu the stage show, and even so, that was stupid. Or no, he didn't even do it. He oversaw that. And it was stupid.
But even then, that at least gets around it because it doesn't try to continue on from the ending of the show with the same cast. It just focuses on other people doing other things after the show is over. That's how you make that work. But the problem is that there is absolutely no way you can do that with this ending in particular. Because the show clearly ends with Kuon being chosen as Garo, so what the fuck do you do?
And everyone else is dead.
Do you have somebody else become Garo and Kuon's just there? Then what's the fucking point of bringing him back?
No.
Or not even bring him
have...
back. Again, like, you wouldn't even bring him back. You would just restart the whole game again, which would still fuck up the ending. Because it's like, after all this, Kuon's fucking sacrifice and shit, after everybody dies, you're going to just do the game again?
No.
Okay.
Here's the thing. Here's what we do, okay? We saw Yellow Lion get killed. We saw Yellow Lion's kid him get killed. Now you have potential for a sequel.
No.
And then you have Yellow Lion's kid vowing revenge.
Garo versus Ghost?
Yes.
No.
Orewa Tenkuchi Takeru. And when I was 18, I saw my dad get fucked by a whack-ass ghost. Oh my god, that would be terrible. Just imagine Takeru putting on the fucking Garo armor.
Yes.
Oh, that would be fucking awful, dude. But yes, it sucks because, like, I like the ending, but I hate what it implies, if that makes sense.
It's very bittersweet.
It basically implies that the world's fucked. And as far as I know, Jay, they have no plans on making a sequel to this season anyways.
No, because the last Garo show that was announced has seemingly no connection to the other one. Granted, they only announced that a couple of months ago, and they still haven't revealed any more information of it. So maybe it is. I don't know. The show's named after Koga's horse, so I'm going to assume that it's not a continuation of Versus Road.
No, it's just literally an entire show about the horse.
I'd watch that.
And it's just
too.
a 24-minute loop of it being tossed off the fucking sword.
I mean, to be fair, that horse is kind of bad.
I mean, no, yeah, Goten's
Isn't it at least voiced by Hironobu Kageyama?
badass, but
No, that's Zaruba.
No, but hold on, let me double check. Somebody did voice it. I don't remember.
I would really like to get a figure. I would really love to get a figure art of Garo and his horse. That would be.
Well, you better be ready to pay $400.
Yeah, I ain't paying $400.
You paid for which stuff?
I think he was voiced in that first episode. Hang on. Now I'm trying to figure this out. Hold on.
Well, as I check Mondarake for the figure arts Garo.
Yes.
Apparently there is Koga Saejima for 10,000 yen. And then there's also
It's not too bad.
Garo Ryuga version for 6,000. Okay, wow, there are a bunch of them actually, but those are also not Shinkocho. There's a Raiko version, Saejima Raiga, Who else? Ryuga.
Rygo was Koga's kid, so that's basically the main timeline.
Gotcha.
Which is how I.
Anyways,
started
why am
with
I
Ryga.
trying to look up the voice of the fucking horse? I don't
know, but anyways,
because I am retarded. Yes.
Because the horse is awesome.
This horse sucks ass. It's a fucking jobber.
It does. Goten gets beat up all the time.
Goten is useless. No.
The design is pretty damn cool.
I don't give a shit. Anyways.
I give a shit. I give a shit.
Anyways.
Anyway.
So, Jay. I guess that's it. That's Garo for you. And unless out of nowhere, the next one's to be called Goten versus Road, I guess is the end of this universe. Instead of like people, it's just horses fighting each other to the death.
I'd watch it.
Oh, dude! Imagine Takane is a fucking horse. Oh, that'd be amazing.
But yeah,
that'd be amazing.
I really do like the ending, but it's left in an uncomfortable position where whatever you try to follow it up with, you lose.
Yeah, it's one of those things where no matter what you do, you're gonna make somebody not like this. Like somebody's not gonna like what you do with it if you try and resolve this, which kind of sucks because like. And again, like you said, Jay, on one hand, I really like the ending as well because it's so drastically different from every other Garo series. Because usually all the Garo series end up pretty happy endings. Like, Koga gets laid, fucking Ryuga dies, which is great. You know? I mean, that's my wishful thinking. But this one is just like, hey, Kuon, you suck ass. Yeah, you're right. I quit. He's quitting his job at McDonald's. He's like, man, fuck this. I don't get paid for this. Which, to be fair, I mean, I guess that brings up the question: what do any of these people do for fucking money? I guess Amo just owns a bar, which, I mean, fair enough. He owns a dog too. That dog's gonna die of starvation.
Kuan is a fucking high schooler.
No, he's not.
He's a college student.
Yes, he was.
College student.
I thought he's a college student. Yeah.
I don't know.
To be fair, Amo gave him like a big ass glass of scotch. I would hope. Yeah,
well, you know what? Amo does not seem like the most responsible individual, but I assume
Amo's the type of guy who would give a toddler scotch, a gun, and tell him to run in traffic.
Yeah. See, I just assumed he was a quote unquote Japanese high schooler, by which I mean somebody in his mid-30s playing a teenager. But yeah. So he's a student. Nagamo is a fucking VTuber, YouTuber, whatever. He gets paid to make internet videos.
Same.
Takane is a model.
A failed one.
And then the rest of them don't matter. So.
Look. Fuck was his name? Kanata. He went on to voice a very successful writer show. And then make very disparaging remarks about black people. Oh my god, I can't get over how much he looks like him, dude. I seriously can't. It's the facial hair. I think that's what puts it over.
No, it's the facial hair and the fact that he doesn't look Japanese.
It's true.
That's true. He doesn't look typical Japanesey. He doesn't exude.
Basically, he looks, well, as they call Hapa. Basically, he's mixed whites or basically Caucasian and Japanese.
I don't know why, Chad, is that used as a slur somewhere?
No, that's actually an actual term within the Asian American.
Okay, good, because yesterday I got yelled at for using the term.
Oh yeah, is actually a really bad word, but I still say it because nobody really cares, to be entirely honest.
You're supposed to say Jay.
Yeah, okay, but I like calling a filthy because he is one.
You know what? This
oh
called.
My God. Okay. Well, he was supposed to be a before. That was originally Claremont's intent, but nobody ever really talked about that, so everybody kind of.
This calls for another installment of very convenient censors. You know what? They're probably gonna get it from when you say.
I'm gonna say Well, they're actually not going to because they're going to think I'm going to say something else because they're not going to know the context. Well, actually, no, I did just talk about that. Never mind. Anyways, I'm looking up the actor here, trying to figure it out. I cannot find any information, but I found out that he was born on 9/11, which is wow.
What a shame!
I know, right?
That was only the second worst thing to happen.
Anyways,
what a way to end the show, isn't it?
Final thoughts on the show, then, I guess, huh?
Yes, I was going to say, final thoughts. Let's give it to Chad, because this is your first Garo. What do you think about it?
Well, it certainly was just that. It was kind of gay. But in all honesty,
It kind of was.
I mean, it kind of was, considering Kanata and Hoshiai and Kuwon and also Kanata.
It's a very homoerotic show.
Oh, yes, and then there's also friggin' Takane, which Takane was just kind of crazy, and I don't think anyone's all about that or trying to get in all that. But anyways, I mean, if they were, then I mean they must be kind of freaky deaky themselves. But I'm not. We live in the year 2021. It's not my place. In all seriousness, though, I actually really enjoyed it. The action choreography was overall really fun. Again, it really makes you wonder, just like who actually is like the action choreography director. And how can we get them on a writer show, aside from, like, not having Koichi Sakamoto? Or also kind of make you wonder, what would happen if Koichi Sakamoto actually did choreography alongside Keita Amemiya writing and directing these shows? But, I mean, definitely very strong characters, very strong action. Overall, I think it was just a fun treat, although this doesn't really portray the actual Garo's, I guess, franchise or series, like, properly, but, I mean, that just means I have to actually finally watch it. But, overall, I enjoyed it, though. Couldn't help but, I guess, think about all the writer characters that I am or am not seeing, and actual literal, like, Sentai characters that I wasn't expecting, because holy shit. But, yeah, no, overall, I really enjoyed it. I liked it. So, yeah. Solid 7 or 8 out of 10.
Oh, next we'll give it to Phil.
So
Time's up.
I was very conflicted with this show because granted, I had to be told that it was basically it was supposed to intentionally be going in an opposite direction as other Garo series, but even when I learned that, I still felt like I was watching. Okay, I'm watching a unique take on Garo, but I also felt like I was watching. Oh, we have a Toku show that doesn't hold any water, so we'll just add some elements of Garo into it to kind of give it an identity, which we even said earlier was basically battle royale with a Garo paint job. Other than that, even if I was still looking at that way, I still enjoyed it. Aside from a few episodes, the action in the show was paced really well. It went by at a fluid pace. The Garo suit is at first I wasn't crazy about it, but over time I actually grew to like it. It's pretty damn nice looking. The acting's pretty damn good. I wish that my favorite character, Nagcam, as I call him, had survived, because he's the real protagonist. But you know what? I got a great performance out of him, and you know what? I liked it.
Jay.
Well,
you hated it.
Maybe. I think Garo Versus Road sucks.
I think Garo in general sucks.
No, I did really enjoy this one. It strays a lot from the Garo formula in more ways than one, and I think it was an interesting experiment in that regards. I think the show overall has, as everybody said, the choreography is really good. Amamiya finally coming back, really, really did help this show in both the dramatic sense and in the action sense, because the man is a genius when it comes to both. And if it weren't for the fact that he basically has a money printer with Garo, I'd love to see him doing more stuff. The cast is all really well rounded, and everybody, for the most part, even the flatter characters still have at least something to them to make them interesting and make me care about seeing them do things. The special effects are very cheap by the usual Garo standards. You know, sure, they're not like Sentai cheap or Rider cheap. They're still a little bit higher budget than those shows are, but especially because of the length of this show, it's definitely more noticeable. Because compare, say, the previous show. Compare Goldstorm. Goldstorm was fucking CG every 10 seconds and 8 billion waifu flips per episode. You know, you had 8 billion suits and all this other shit going on. So it's definitely a step down in budget, where all the fights taking place in like abandoned warehouses basically, and like the most fancy environment is the one that takes place in the fucking Helheim room, and even then you barely see it. So budget wise, yes, it's very, very on the low scale, and it kind of harms it a little bit, but Amamiya really does make do with what he has. I really enjoyed the music. It's got that like techno trance vibe to it that I really enjoy, and of course the opening theme by Jam Project is always god tier. I would say I put it right next to the original show's theme song, still below Makai Senki, of course. My biggest complaint, I think, is that the armor designs were really, really good, and the fact that they're only in like one episode apiece, and that they're both CG is really disappointing. I also wish that we got a little bit more into the Makai realm stuff with the knights and the priests and all that, and kind of get an idea of how they differ from the main timeline and everything. They got the big fucking tournament arc for Garo there, and which is ridiculous as hell, because you'd think that we didn't even talk about this. You would think that if you're gonna have a fucking fighting tournament to decide who your new knight is gonna be, you're gonna make sure that the knight can actually fucking wear the armor to begin with before you even do the whole tournament. Like you would think that's criteria number one, right? But overall, it's a very good entry to the Garo series, and it feels like it kind of earns back a little bit of the goodwill it had lost with Goldstorm and Jinga and all of that. It's a shame that one, it's so short, and that it's left in such an awkward position that it whatever comes next with Garo is going to be something of a tough act to follow this, because it's weird again, like we went into. But I really enjoyed it. Definitely do not start with this show, because even though it is a totally standalone continuity, if you don't fucking know anything about the horrors or Makai or Inga or Soul Metal or any of this shit, you're gonna have no idea what's going on. So at the very least, watch the original show before you watch this, but I would solidly recommend it.
You do realize that you said earlier that this was a great entry, and then you said don't start with this, right?
No, I didn't.
Yes, you did.
You kind of did.
I have that on recording, Jay.
You kind of did.
You said this is a good entry.
You guys are gaslighting me.
Yes, well, I'm gaslighting you with the truth.
This is not the truth.
I'm holding it against you because I was
Checkmate
told
me.
to
You
start
don't remember.
this.
You don't remember the beginning of this episode. Anyways, as for my final thoughts, I pretty much parrot most of what Jay says. I love this show. I don't know what it was about it, but it was just great. And no, it's not like Makai Senki, and it's not like the Ryugaverse. Thank fucking Christ! But it's not like Garos that come before it. And God help me, we have the other two that we have to do with fucking Koga's kid. Jesus fuck. But like it's not like any of those that come from before it. But I honestly think it's great. It's refreshing. It's a breath of fresh air. And I say that only watching 3 Garo shows. Because let's be honest, Yami Tera really took it out of me. I really did not like that show. And having this not only be the last review of the year for us, but also being the Garo show that we watch now. It's just, I liked it. I really did. The fights were great. I liked most of the characters. A lot of the designs were great. The music, like Jay said, was fantastic. Like, I'm not even one to really like overly techno stuff, but I like the music here. Of course, the song by Jam Project is fantastic. You can't go wrong with Jam Project.
It is.
It's all fantastic. It's a great show. Honestly, I would put it right under Makai Senki. I think Makai Senki is still the better show, just in terms of storytelling and pacing. But this, you can't go wrong with it. And unlike Jay, this is not a good entry point for Garo. And you should not chart with this fucking show because, my God, you would be fucking confused. I'm sorry, Chad, but still.
Did you just say shark?
But still, this show was great. And if you want to watch it after watching a Garo show, dude, go for it. I know a lot of people got put off by the Battle Royale, Fortnite. I know a lot of people got put off by that. A lot of people got put off by the VR, and a lot of people got put off by another alternate timeline bullshit. No, dude, you will not be disappointed. This was great, and what a show to end us off on. I liked it a lot. Phil didn't because he sucks.
I said I liked it.
You said, ooh,
Yes,
Garo,
I did.
ooh, what a Garo, ooh, he has a tiny penis. You said that exactly.
Okay, will you stop gaslighting me?
I'm not even
you
gaslighting.
idiot?
This is just the truth.
Garo Versus Road, more like Garo Gaslight Road.
We should just name Phil Gaslighter.
Wow, you guys actually like this
That'd be a
stuff?
great.
You're the
You
one
guys
that's
actually like this stuff? This
gaslighting.
Garo stuff?
Wouldn't that be a great supervillain who just he just runs around gaslighting you the entire time? He's like, I'm not robbing
you
this
bought
bank.
that
You're
person.
crazy.
You said you didn't like it. No, I didn't. Yes, you did.
You know what, guys?
First of all, I said I was conflicted with it. First of all, I said I had conflicting
Oh, he
feelings
hates
about
it.
it. But
See,
I
guys,
still
he said right
enjoyed
there.
You know
He
what,
hates
guys?
it.
No, fine. I'll be truly honest
Yoshi.
about my opinion. I did not like this show. I don't know why you guys like Garo or whatever the hell this crap is, but you know what? Kamen Rider Ghost and
You know,
Kamen
you're kinda
Rider
right,
Saber
Chad.
are a lot better than this drivel. Than like, thanks for wasting my week, guys.
You know what's sad, Chad? There's probably someone out there who actually thinks that way. That's very sad.
Yeah, more than likely. I don't know.
There's probably somebody out there who thinks you're serious with that too.
I'm super.
I am so
super
serial that I think Garo is the worst show on the
Oh
internet.
my gosh, it's so edgy.
Yeah, have you ever watched it?
No, I haven't.
I can't imagine actually watching Garo. I can't imagine actually doing a review of Garo. By the way, guys, thanks for watching our review of Precure. I mean, so guys, so as we know, we in January, because this is the last review of the year. Next is going to be our shooting the shit, where it's just going to be us talking all sorts of bullshit because we don't care. And then it's our year-end awards. And then we go for a little bit of a break in January for 2 weeks. And then we do Gaim. But do we, guys? But do
Yes,
we?
yes,
I
we
don't know,
do. From
Chad.
here on out, it's my stage.
I don't know,
Yes.
Chad. The mystery box is calling you.
No, it isn't.
Yeah.
Look, I already had enough mystery boxes
no
pop on
mystery
this-
box.
I mean,
Come on.
Chad,
Hold
Chad,
on,
if
hold on,
you...
hold Phil?
AJ, I killed that mystery box.
Hold on.
I drowned
Let's
it.
just be honest. I've already had enough mystery boxes magically pop up in my room with a pair of sunglasses that were more or less not Gucci. They were like Bucci, as we were saying earlier.
Bucci.
Just saying, I'm tired of some mystery boxes. I will take Gaim for now. And,
All right, well, what about Jay,
And
though?
The box. The box.
All right, the
Jay.
box it is, boys!
No, Jay, will you?
No.
Jay, will you
No,
control
no,
yourself?
no,
you
No,
little
We've done this
sorry,
too
Jay.
often.
Sorry, Jay. I already got the wheel
I was
out.
joking,
Oh my
of course.
God.
okay,
I-
Phil, your
No,
turn.
no,
not
this,
do
this,
that.
No,
but
no.
I should say now, this is going to be for after Gaim. Because I always forget to do the wheel after the Gear End Awards, so I'm going to do this. This is
Okay.
for after Gaim.
No, I'm down.
Please, no.
This is for after Gaim, by the way, everybody. Don't get
you
get
guys-
scared.
I'm down.
We're gonna
Let's
get
let's
screwed.
freaking do
We're
this.
gonna get screwed.
Bring it on.
Got my
All right.
panic gun.
Bring it on.
Because I want to get our January booked, so you know.
You know what? Like, whatever happens, I will take full responsibility.
That's fair.
I'm gonna
Feel
kill
free.
either
Look,
one
Chad,
of
it's
you.
not. Look, Chad, it's not your fault. It's Phil's fault. He's the one.
That's right.
He's the one.
Phil was
you
the one who said
jackass.
to do the box.
Yeah, I remember he was like, "Hey, yo, do that fucking mystery box bullshit, you."
The box.
Hey, you, I want to
You
do the mystery
You do
box.
know I
you.
don't sound like. You do know I don't
Yes, you
sound
do.
like that,
No,
right?
no, you don't. It's more like, hey, I'm walking over here.
Hey,
I'm walking over here. Do the mystery box.
You know I.
Oh my god!
You know I almost got killed by an old Italian guy.
All right.
Sorry, Phil. But
AJ's
anyways,
reacting.
let's do this.
Oh
Can't
my
believe you're doing
god.
this, you jackasses.
Oh my
Phil,
god!
again, this is your fault.
OMG.
Nobody should say anything. AJ, I will come down to Texas. and I will
Tokusatsu
murder
Gaga
you.
got 2. No, I'm kidding. That doesn't exist, sadly.
No, I wish that existed.
That would be great.
I wish.
And I would really like it. But unfortunately,
Why are you talking like a valley girl?
I'm just saying.
Oh my
Like,
god.
oh my god.
Jason's like totally awesome.
I would really like if we could do Gaga Got 2.
I think I
Actually,
really,
didn't
I
they
think-
have
I
a
think-
Valley Girl
I
on
think I
Gaga?
kinda hit that
I think so.
Somebody who was basically a Valley Girl.
I don't know.
Kind of.
I've never finished it.
I don't remember.
Like, oh my god, I could.
All right.
Like,
Anyways, what do we
What the
got?
fuck are we gonna do then?
I don't know, Jay. What are we gonna do? You have.
I don't
the
know.
wheel.
You're the one with the wheel.
Okay.
All right.
Fuck it. We're gonna
all right.
change Hirion.
Jay, this is
All right,
there.
everybody, sit down. For what
We're
we're
already
gonna
sitting.
do
No, I'm standing up.
after Gaim.
After Gaim.
After Gaim. Remember, this is after Gaim.
What are we doing? I'm
I'm
challenging.
I'm
it.
just stalling
Fucking
because I
scared
want to
right
piss Phil off more.
Okay, that's
I'm
fair.
just stalling because I want to piss Phil
I
off.
I can get behind this.
What we're gonna do after Gaim. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, Jay. Remember, this is your fault.
Wait, wasn't I the one that
Even though
challenged it?
Chad said
Yeah,
he
I was the
takes
one that-
blame.
Yeah, wasn't I the one that challenged it though? Oh.
Yes.
We are going back to Sentai
Oh, that's cool.
for our first show after Gaim.
Finally.
We are doing
Dab.
Ranger.
Dab.
Is this the
Dab.
Is this the second time I've won with the?
Sentai
Is
ever.
this the second time I've won with the mystery box?
Technically, yes.
Why
Technically,
the hell
yes.
does Chad have such good luck?
Yo, Shalaki.
You know what, Chad? You
Oh
should
my god.
Yo, son
I'm
of
gonna
a-
bring him when I go gambling.
you should just be here every single time we do the box.
Yay!
But yes, after we do Game, we're going right back to the deck arrangers. We already did the American version. Now we do the Japanese.
Now we can
version.
see how much better the Japanese version is.
Now I get to see Doggy
Now let
Kruger
me ask.
sans the weird dreadlocks.
You know what?
Yes, now you just get his
Can I-
broken fursuit.
I get to relive all
Are
those
we
deviant
just-
art
are
images
we-
of fan art Doggy Kruger. Yay.
Ugh.
Yes,
Are
just
we
the show,
watching
Phil. This has
just,
been the thing forever.
Just Deca Ranger, or can we watch?
No,
Can we watch 10 years after
it's
as
just
well?
the show, Phil. This is how it goes.
What are you new?
Come on, 10 years after. Is good.
What are you
10
new?
Years after's good.
It is good, but what are you new to this? We don't do the movies.
We don't do the movies when we talk about everything.
Hey, that
Yeah.
movie
Oh,
is really good. It
I
has
don't
Deca
care.
Gold in it. It got Deca Gold and it's got a
Excuse
buggy
me while I
in it,
just
damn
mute
it.
him.
I need my battle buggy.
You can do the movies. You can do the 10 years after special. You could do the crossover with Maji Ranger and Aba Ranger. You can do what you want. Just like what I
And
did
you have
with
to do it
Ninja.
within 2 weeks.
Because Lord knows.
And you know what, Phil? Just for you, if you can do all of that within 2 weeks, you can talk about them.
Actually, I already
No, you have to
did
do it
Do
again.
it again.
5 years ago.
Oh, 5 years ago doesn't count. You have to do it
I
again.
don't. 5 years ago,
Play
I
it
did
again.
it right as
Do it
right
again,
as we-
Phil.
By Johnny. Johnny Guitar.
That's how this works, Phil. We got to rewatch the
So this
show.
is my challenge to you. If you could do what I did with Ninja,
Eh.
yeah, we can talk about it. Sound good?
Gotta rewatch all of them within 2 weeks.
Nah, I'm just gonna watch. I'm just gonna watch the show.
Yeah, that's
because
what I
got
thought.
other things
Oh
to
yeah,
do.
he's got other things to do, aka
I got-
nothing.
It's called I Gotta Catch Up with Zenkai.
Oh,
and
okay, so
Rewise.
aka nothing. Anyways,
Actually, with this last recording, I can.
anyways,
do that.
as much as Phil hates Garo and Sentai, as we know, he obviously thinks that Ninja's the best and Deca Ranger sucks. As we've just heard,
Okay.
he really hates Deca Ranger.
That's not even gaslighting.
You know
That's
what's,
just
you know
pulling
what's
stuff out
weird?
of your
I literally
ass.
just heard Phil the other day say like, "Oh, a Doggy Kruger, more like Doggy Bitcher." That's exactly what he said.
How dare you?
And then he was just like,
How
"Oh,
dare
oh
you."
man, I
Very
really
vague.
like the way that they made Skyla into the bed of blue He's so much better than Blue and Deca Ranger.
No.
And then he was like, "Oh my God, Deca Pink is so much shittier than SPD Pink."
Oh no!
Hey Jay, you want to see something funny?
I forget her name.
Always.
Will always be better.
All right.
Okay, and there goes Phil.
What the fuck did you do?
Oh, that was so fucking perfect.
You literally just took me out of the.
Yeah, I did.
Anywho.
You've gone mad. Oh my God,
James
you've gone
is
mad
dying over
with
there.
power, AJ. You've gone mad
Anyway.
with power.
Man, you never know when it's gonna strike, but when it does, it's always the funniest thing.
Anyways, we'll see you guys for the Christmas episode. Bye.
See you later.
Bye.